or call us at 800-511-0379, 800-511-0379. Again, that's 800-511-0379. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Hi, Stephanie from Emmons. Are you not loving your bathroom? Is the King's Throne looking a little outdated and run down? Let Emmons Design Specialists design a bathroom that you will love and one that Emmons will redo in as little as 1 day. An affordable, maintenance-free bathroom with little to no inconvenience to you and your family. With finance options available, there's really only one problem. Your bathroom will be so nice, your king may never want to come out. Call Emmons today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on our website at callemmons.com.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles.
Highly logical.
Learn about Navien's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie, and one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
It is Dom time. All right, the honeymoon was starting to break up anyhow. The market yesterday and all that with Bidenomics, Kamalanomics might be an indicator. But today it showed you something about Kamala Harris here and the Democrat Party. We'll get to the anti-Semites. We'll get to they locked in today the Death to America vote. They helped to lock that in. If Josh Shapiro over there, that Death to America vote, I don't know what they would have done. They would have voted for Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Bring him from Gitmo. He's on American soil. Let's bring him in here. They locked that in by getting rid of Josh Shapiro. Oh, my goodness. But the thing it tells me that also happened here, and John Fetterman might have been one of the architects of this. Fetterman had his aides go to Kamala Harris and say, you can't trust Shapiro. He is way over the top as far as being ambitious. That's exactly what was said. So, I mean, come on. Don't you want a guy driven to be president since his bar mitzvah? I identify with him on that. I get it. He's capable. I just...
so she's scared he's going to upstage him?
Yes, and he would have. He would have.
You're probably right, yeah.
What would have happened is, you know, people don't understand this stuff, Dan. A couple things. One, the VP does matter. First of all, it can kill you if it's bad. But two, Josh Shapiro would have made it very difficult for us to win Pennsylvania. That's a fact. You have to face the opposition. I'm so tired of these people coming on. Well, we don't care who, on both sides, we don't care who we run, who the VP is. No. Look at this. I'd much rather, she has to win Pennsylvania. She absolutely has to win Pennsylvania. If she doesn't, she's not going to be president. If Trump doesn't win it, I don't think he's going to be president. So just push all your chips in and win Pennsylvania. You know, I'll take my chances. I'd be so nuts. I would tell J.D. Vance, just sit in this studio here. We'll hook you up with other places if you want.
I mean, he's down in South Philly. Come up, J.D.
Yeah, don't go out there. You don't need to be in front of crowds. You can be in your underwear. That's what Pat Buchanan did in New Hampshire. He told me, Dom, I just sat in my underwear, Dan, when he won the, I don't know if he won. He came very close against Herbert Walker Bush, the primary in New Hampshire. He said, I just sat in my underwear in a hotel room, and I was on 20 radio stations a day, and I was hitting more people than if I were on TV or doing rallies or whatever. So, J.D. Vance, just come over here, park yourself. We'll help you out. So, what is it about Walz? Well, I think they sat around and they started to convince themselves There's not much difference politically. This guy is convinced him because of the weird stuff. He's apparently the one that coined it or something about J.D. Vance and Trump. He's like a Andy of Mayberry, Bernie Sanders. That's what this guy is to them. They think he can come in, he's folksy. Here's what he said about socialism. Here's Walls telling us about, socialism is really just being neighborly.
But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
I remember that. See, they think this guy, they're crazy. Minnesota's not a swing state. Every time I used to see that with Trump, stop it already. It's not a swing state. Don't go there. I did Minnesota radio, Dan.
Whoa.
Oh, I did a lot.
Yeah,
and he told me, your style's kind of, your style's kind of hot for Minnesota radio. I said, well, yeah. I will tell you this: when you fill in
pronunciations are off, Tom.
Oh, that's right. When you fill in around the country, you realize, and I have to say, even at my most, I had to gear myself up, do an afternoon drive at WOR for New York radio. You got to come out of the box throwing not only fastballs, they have to be right at their head type of stuff.
So I don't mean to go on a detour here, but genuine question. When you come and do radio in Philadelphia, it's kind of, you got to know how to pronounce Schuylkill and all, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when you do Minnesota radio, are you expected to pronounce Minnesota like Minnesota?
I think I avoided any of that stuff.
And are you seen as an outsider if you don't have that?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the vibe, too. Everything is feel good. You can't get too disagreeing too much. Oh, that's not fair. Yeah, I had that because I was like, oh, what's that about? What's that about, Martha?
What's that about?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Fargo.
Minnesota, those Eagles. Don't talk about the Eagles. So Walls does several things here. Again, it underlines the anti-Semitism of the Democrat Party. They couldn't put this guy in. I wonder how Josh Shapiro feels. A guy with just the most ruthless progressivism. He gets kicked out he's clearly the guy you tag in. You know, I got this guy on the bench, Dan, and instead I'm sending up this guy. This guy is only 60, Walls. You look at him, oh my God, what are they seeing here? Oh, he's folksy. He's going to come into rural Pennsylvania. They're consumed with this. This guy's going to win rural Pennsylvania. My God, I don't know if he's to the
such a bad choice.
I don't know if he's to the left of Harris, but this is the most left wing ever. Think of Bernie Sanders without the try. Look, Bernie Sanders to me is kind of funny. There's certain quirky stuff there. This guy doesn't have that. Minnesota's very liberal, even in the rural areas. They have these progressive party farmers parties and all. That's what this guy is. And he does something else. He brings into play the George Floyd summer, big time. Now, there are stories out there today, and you'll hear them, and I think they're accurate. One, he delayed deploying the National Guard. I remember that, deploying the National Guard, because the National Guard didn't file the proper paperwork with them, the proper paperwork, if you can imagine. And then the story that somehow or another his daughter got deployment information on the National Guard and was able to leak that online so that looters had more of a sense of where the National Guard might be going. My God, he puts into play the George Floyd summer. What a gift. It's exactly what we've been waiting for. He's signed into law one of the most liberal, one of the worst of these trans bills. It's kind of like a trans sanctuary city. We have him defending sanctuary cities. He has no problem with that. And he is an open borders guy. Dan, this is Cut 16. Here's Tim Waltz being asked about sanctuary cities.
Should Minnesota be a sanctuary state?
If the definition of that is that the federal government enforces immigration law and local law enforcement enforces local law, then yes.
Should cities be allowed to be sanctuary cities?
Yes, local control.
Local control? Wait a minute, you're in a country with laws. What are you talking about? This guy belongs in Philadelphia. This guy ought to be mayor of Philadelphia. This is Jim Kenney. Yeah, local control. We'll do whatever we want. Yeah, well, what about these laws? No, that doesn't matter, you know. It's local control. This This is amazing that they dumped out the guy. And I'm not saying you're afraid of anybody, but if you want to win, you got to realize when you're against somebody who presents more of a hurdle, and this notion, you'll hear one talking head after another, the VP doesn't matter. That's crazy. I can point out any number of VPs that really hurt the candidacy. And I can point out VPs in a close election. It's going to be close here in Pennsylvania. This guy's not going to put them over the top. Shapiro might have. So what does it tell us more about Harris, who's advising her in the campaign? It tells us what we thought, that ultimately she'll crack, she'll get a bounce from the convention. But ultimately, the more people see this, the more and more that it goes on, the more they'll see what we see in Harris. You'll convince the persuadables. And this idea that Josh Shapiro would upstage her, she's smart on that. Yes, he would upstage her. And he wouldn't necessarily be trying. He'd be trying to pretend, shucks, I'm not upstaging her. What are you talking about? As he puts a knife in. That's true. But she has to win Pennsylvania, and she couldn't put up with a guy who's seen as capable alongside of her. She was afraid of that. Dan, you have a news story, too, about this executive order. I was just talking about gender-affirming care, and you have one where he calls the Electoral College undemocratic.
Yeah,
I'd love to debate this
out
genius.
too,
Yeah, let's hear it.
So from KARE 11, here is the news story about the executive order.
Hey, Rena, this comes at a time when a lot of other states are passing bills that would restrict gender-affirming care or outlaw it for minors. And there's actually a bill here pending at the legislature here at the Capitol that would make Minnesota sort of a trans care refuge state. But the governor did not want to wait for that to get to his desk.
When our children tell us who they are, it is our job as grown-ups to listen and to believe them.
Okay, let's get it on this, buddy.
It was an event that had all the trappings of a bill signing ceremony. A huge crowd of lawmakers, advocates, and families, in this case, gathered in support of legal protections for people seeking gender-affirming care for themselves or their children. But the paper Governor Walz signed was an executive order. His action comes at a time when transgender persons across the nation feel under siege.
This is life-threatening.
The Iowa Senate passed a bill Tuesday.
Those in favor of the motion shall say aye.
Barring doctors from providing puberty blockers, hormone therapy, or gender-affirming surgery to anyone under 18.
Goes on from there if you want more.
All right, let's hear a little bit more of my favorite subject, too, the genius of the Electoral College.
These are great questions. The teacher in me loves this. I've been asked to sign on. And a whole bunch of people signed on, and my good friend, I think Gene Green from Houston, was carrying the bill to get rid of the Electoral College. I'm thinking to myself, had Hillary Clinton won, probably none of them would have signed on to it. And so I'm really torn on this. I think any time, and I do believe the Constitution is a living document. I think Jefferson's quote about as mankind progressed and as technology progressed, the document was to progress with it as how you deal with these things. But I do think you have to be very careful about some of those core principles. It always seems to me, going back to the Senate and the filibuster, the Electoral College seems very undemocratic to me. I mean, I think at first blush. But it also was an attempt to unify the less populated areas to try and give some voice. Now, those who would say this, the state of Wyoming
goes on from there if you want more.
Yeah, no, this guy reminds me of Mr. Magoo. He's a Mr. Magoo, too. He's Andy Mayberry, Bernie Sanders here. And they bought this. Damn, they wanted to buy it because they were getting heat on the anti-Semitic stuff and all. They were afraid of that. And when Fetterman said, watch this guy, you know what he's going to do, they bought it. Fetterman. Thank you, John Fetterman. John Fetterman, once again, I think took Shapiro out when they slept on it. Yeah, this guy too ambitious. How can you be too ambitious?
Too ambitious.
You're running for president.
Well, you know what it is? I think there's a cabal here that's trying to control this vice presidential candidate, and they know they can't control Shapiro to a degree.
Yeah, and again, If they lose, he wins because he would have been better than her. It would have been obvious. If they win, he's along for the ride, undermining her. I get it, but it just shows how weak she is. She couldn't pick the guy that would win Pennsylvania. Now, you're going to hear today, the Inquirer and others will put out, it was the sex abuse case with this very guy, and it's not about that. It's about upstaging, and it's also about anti-Semitism.
So do you think the counting behind the scenes then was, how many moderates can we pick up in swing states versus how many anti-Semites we turn off with this election?
Yeah, they convinced themselves they wouldn't call it anti-Semites. They would say they would say the progressive vote, the youth vote. They're not going to like this. And then Dan Fetterman cinched it. He's ambitious. Watch this guy. Don't go to sleep on this guy. Oh, man. It's so richly deserved for Josh Shapiro because he's in a party where no matter how capable you are, or perceived capable, let's say that, you're a white male, buddy, and you're a white male who does the right thing and supports Israel. That's it. There's no room in the Democrat Party for you. Well, this guy's a white male. Yeah, but he is the VP choice progressive. He's not a threatening figure at all. He's Andy Mayberry. It's different versus a
he likes
guy.
to throw frizzies for his dog.
Yeah, I mean, the other guy's a killer. I say that in the best sense. He's a definite killer. That's who I'd want on my team. All right, 855-839-1210.
They just really like that weird thing, and that's Is it
the weird thing.
Is it recency bias too?
Yeah, put him on the list. I'm running out of papers here. And he's a teacher at one point, they said, and a coach. He's going to be a coach for America. No, verdict in. The honeymoon is over. She's showing who she really is, what we knew even before the convention. All right, let me give you the side question. Today, with all that's gone on, is a day in history. Well, next year, it'll be the 80th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima. How many American presidents would have done that and saved American lives? Harry Truman was a Democrat. He did it. I think it's a pretty mixed thing. I don't think Kamala Harris would. I don't think Joe Biden would. I think Obama might. I know Trump would. I think both Bushes would. So our side question today, hit us with a real-life movie coming off a real-life event. Now, not a biopic.
So an event, not a person.
An event, not a person, an event. Like Oppenheimer. Yeah, the title is Oppenheimer, but it is
kind
about...
of a biopic.
It is about, though, the large, what they go through there of making the bomb. All the President's Men, Watergate,
yes,
perfect example.
Perfect example.
Titanic, yeah, there is a love story there and all that.
Yeah, but it's definitely about the event of the sinking.
It's about the event of the sinking. Sully, one of my favorite guys. You can board the plane. I can relax. I'm taking a nap, Dan. Sully's at the controls. Yeah, but there's a big storm ahead. Well, he'll land on the Hudson.
So I think Sully and Oppenheimer actually point out a great difference in what we're looking for in today's side question. So Sully and Oppenheimer can be argued as biopics, but what they do is they focus largely on a single event that really defined this individual. Right. So Oppenheimer focuses around that bomb exploding. For Sully, it focuses on, landing in the Hudson. It's based on that one event of that person's life and kind of expands out from there rather than being the retelling of the person's entire life in a biography form.
By the way, update, J.D. Vance is speaking down there at the ECW place in South Philly.
Yeah.
And he will be taking reporters' questions. When's Kamala Harris going to take a question? Maybe the Walls guy will. Maybe he'll tell us why his daughter put the plans online of where the National Guard would be deployed so that looters could burn down cities, and why he was demanding paperwork from the National Guard, from the mayor, while the city was burning down. Oh, man, where is this guy coming? Essentially, they're cocky, too. They think this guy's going to go talk to the rubes and say, that's not socialism, that's just being neighborly.
They really missed an opportunity of having Sandman come out with a cigarette in his mouth and a beer in his hand to introduce him with his music in the ECW arena. Maybe turn out the lights, some fireworks when JD comes out.
All right, so it's 855-839-1210. Dan, what's yours?
I have a couple, Dom. Moneyball, based on the situation we saw with the Oakland A's in the early 2000s and how they completely changed the game of baseball for the better, I would have to say.
Too much analytics. Go with the Dom eye test.
And then I'll take out The Big Short based on the housing crisis of the late 2000s as well.
That's a good one. By the way, a little arm update, Dan. It's only getting worse.
Oh, my gosh, it's spreading.
Yeah, look, it's coming down this way now.
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Like and subscribe. What is going on there?
Yeah, I'm not going to fix it.
Have you seen a doctor?
No.
Why?
No.
You know
what are they going to tell you? Nothing's bothering me. You got to do a lot more than that.
Well, if it's getting bigger, that's not good.
Oh, maybe if there's a doctor out there. Come on, we have doctors watching here.
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. We need to see.
Have a friendly opinion here. No, it's not bothering me at all. Well, what's going on? 855-83.
It's like an alien, just an alien pops out of your arm.
I have to ask Nick Kale if he's ever been hit with a ball, or Mike Opelka. They're both, they golf more than I do. So that might be the case. 855-839-1210. That's how you get in here on Talk Radio 1210.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
The only time I've ever lost baggage on a flight is with my golf clubs. Been 2 or 3 times. Always the golf club. Nobody can find your golf bag when you leave. The thing is massive. How'd you lose it? Now I can't play.
That would be the worst, especially if it's a golf trip.
Well, yes. I've never taken specifically a golf trip. Some of these trips that I've gone on, there's been a round of golf, and I don't want to pay $100 to rent a set. Who was the airliner that used to say bags fly free? Do they still do that?
No, Bidenomics, baby.
That's probably 20 years old. I'm stuck in a 2004 time warp.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
This is Len Lundy of Lundy Law. When we say we hope you are never involved in an accident, we mean it. But if you're injured in an accident, we will work quickly to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. And when we also say it won't cost you a dime up front, we mean it. Remember our name, Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit LundyLaw.com.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties, and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit EasyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
Hey, Daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
Be prepared with CHIP, free or low-cost healthcare for Pennsylvania kids and teens. From checkups to unexpected bumps and bruises and everything in between, CHIP has you covered. Don't wait until you need it. Be prepared with CHIP. Because every kid deserves quality healthcare and every parent deserves peace of mind knowing their kids are covered. CHIP, free or low-cost healthcare for kids and teens under age 19. Learn more at chipcoverspakids.com.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit. 800-513-4444. 800-513-4444. 800-513-4444.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
That could be J.D. Vance. He's at where they used to, I'm not sure if they still do the ECW, the wrestling minor league AAA circuit there in South Philly. But what a day to see this guy Walls. Now, George Stephanopoulos differs with his pick. He says Walls appears to fit the all-American definition of a man from Middle America. My God. All right, so he's from Middle America. You getting?
When I go home at night, I pick up the Frisbee and throw it, and my dog catches it, he comes over, he gets the belly rub for being a good boy.
Yeah, he's the one. You ever see Trump smile? He's weird. I'm Middle America. My God, the guy looks like one of those Packers fans, Dan, ready to keel over in the snow there. He's only 60. Look at this guy. He does. My goodness. And he brings into play the whole idea of the George Floyd summer. I mean, the daughter leaks where the National Guard's going to be. He's fighting with them over paperwork as the city burns. This guy is an ad machine for the other side, just waiting to happen. He just calls everybody weird. He's folksy. He's going to go into rural Pennsylvania. I think rural Pennsylvania is a bit different than Minnesota. And I think she was afraid of being upstaged by Josh Shapiro, and I think Fetterman had a lot to do with it. Nice, a hat tip to John Fetterman today. And in the end, yeah, she didn't put this guy out there. You can't restrain Josh Shapiro. He's too capable looking. And then there's the Israel thing. There's the anti-Semites, the Deaf to America vote. Here is Van Jones, of all people. Now, Van Jones is a straight shooter. I mean, we know he's an ideologue. He gushes over Harris. But Van Jones lays it out about what this was all about today.
Though, Van, that she didn't go with Shapiro to kind of lock down Pennsylvania. I mean, yes, David Challenger was saying earlier, just because you pick him as your running mate doesn't mean you automatically win Pennsylvania. But I got to think it would have helped just a little bit.
Hey, listen, the conservatives, the right wing, the Republicans, they were chewing their fingernails down to the knuckle because they were afraid of a Josh Shapiro. They were afraid of a Mark Kelly. They're not as afraid of this new governor because they think they can define him. So here's the challenge you've got in this party. And people don't want to talk about it. We got to talk about it. On the one hand, you have a lot of young people who are concerned about Gaza. You have a lot of Muslims and Arabs and others. They have not felt seen by the Biden administration. You start hearing that genocide joke. That was building. And so those folks needed to have a candidate that they could feel comfortable with. This helps them in that regard. But you also have anti-Semitism that has gotten marbled into this party. You can be for the Palestinians without being an anti-Jewish bigot, but there are some anti-Jewish bigots out there. And there's some disquiet now, and there has to be. How much of what just happened is caving into some of these darker parts in the party? So that's going to have to get worked out. It's going to have to get talked through.
How are you going to talk that through? It's true. It's not just anti-Israel. They're anti-Semites. After October 7th, they went with this. Now, Josh Shapiro is not going to say that. The Inquirer's just going to say, well, Netanyahu turns them off. They're not going to give you the root of it. Watch the Inquirer say, well, this case with this aide who was caught up in this sexual harassment, they didn't like that. They're not going to say that. They're not going to tell you that Harris felt threatened by him, that she'd be upstaged. Those are the two big reasons here. Thank God.
They're already starting the Midwestern narrative. Yeah, you want to hear it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I like that he has a military background. I like that he's a Midwesterner, especially. And I think that, particularly in contrast to the Republican candidates, the Republican VP candidate, who's also a Midwesterner, Tim Walz seems like he really embodies Midwestern values.
That's a Lisa Slotkin.
Well, you know what? On that point, Dan, I'll admit it. I'm not running for office yet, so I can say this to get rid of the tape. I'm sick and tired of hearing about this Midwestern nice and all that. You know what? Here in Philadelphia, we like how we are. You know, you want to be all that shucks stuff or whatever the heck they're talking about with the Midwest. Knock yourself out. That's fine. I don't need somebody from the Midwest all the time. That's what they're going with. There, those Midwest values. We're nice. We're down to earth. You're not. You're not the party of the Midwest, by the way. You're the party of the coast, the elites, the Silicon Valleys. They're even out there saying, well, look at this. Harris went to an historically black college. Walz did not go to the Ivy League either. Trump and J.D. Vance, both were Ivy League colleges are out of bounds now. Well, the whole party's out of bounds. And what are we talking about here?
Stephanopoulos is now starting it, too.
Yeah, let's hear Steffi.
Lena, Walz appears to fit the all-American definition of a man from middle America. High school teacher, football coach, member of the Army National Guard before becoming a member of Congress and now governor.
Exactly. He really has that perfect backstory. He also has those rural roots.
The rural roots. All right, let's get it on here now. Let's see when this guy comes to rural Pennsylvania, how that works out. The message to people like Josh Shapiro, though, any number of the others in this party is, you are not welcome here. And if you're Jewish, how do you not look at this? The ADL already said it before this choice was made. Are they going to stand up now and say this is just purely a major reason? Anti-Semitism, anti-Israel, that's what it's about. And they're telling you can't have the top prize, be the VP anyhow in this. And you're also ambitious. Wow. What a weak top of the ticket. All right, we're going to talk with Caroline Levitt, the national spokesperson for the Trump campaign, about this. They may have a little bit more on Walz and how they see this. J.D. Vance is going to take questions from reporters. And we'll play you a little bit of that. We got other people stopping by, 855-839-1210. Hey, the best place to bet this games this summer is FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Then you can bet on all your favorite international teams and all your favorite sports, from basketball to badminton, soccer to swimming. FanDuel has it all. Don't miss your chance to score $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/Dom and start betting the games today. Make every moment more with FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. Have to be 21 plus, present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
A very humid air mass will fuel some strong to severe storms later this afternoon with a high 93. Flood watch remains in effect into Wednesday. Shower and storm chances continued tonight with a low 72. And for Wednesday, cooler with clouds and a few showers around with a high 78.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go. So I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partnered with Beacon. With their unique Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now through September 15th, purchase GAF through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. We all love summer, right? But the beach isn't just for summer. In fact, the beach, and in particular the Cape May beach, is just beautiful in the fall. If you haven't been to Cape May in the fall, you're missing out, and you should book your stay at the Grand Hotel of Cape May for a September to remember. The Grand offers special midweek packages so you can enjoy the beach without breaking the bank. Stay 2 nights and save 10%. Stay 3 nights, get 10% off and $55 a night in resort credits. Stay 5 nights, you're going to get 10% off and $65 a night in resort credits, and they can be used at Hemingway's for food and drink, the gift shop, and so much more. The Grand offers guest rooms, suites, and townhomes equipped with a kitchenette, and they have 2 huge heated pools, 1 outdoor and 1 indoor. I'm telling you, the Grand is my happy place, and you will not be disappointed. Book directly with them for the best rates. Book your stay today at 800-257-8550 or visit them online at grandhotelcapemay.com. And our next live show is Friday, September 6th. So book your stay today, grandhotelcapemay.com.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, broadcasting from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter.
All right, for Coco Mord on Twitter, Waltz will be in charge of getting Joe Biden up on Mount Rushmore. So there's that. I'm sure he's good, you know.
Yeah.
He's the heartland of America. Let's see what Caroline Leavitt has to say on the Dom Giordano Show, National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign. All right, Caroline, is it any news over there that you're putting out Christmas trees and Santa is visiting with the wall skiff
like
given to us today? Is it Christmas morning over in Trump headquarters?
Hey, well, let me tell you, this is welcome news for our campaign, as President Trump said himself on his Truth Social account a few minutes ago. Thank you. Thank you, Kamala Harris, for proving how dangerously liberal you are. This is her first major decision as the Dem Party's nominee, and she has proven that she's a radical liberal in her choice of Tim Walz, who is also a radical liberal. This guy is one of the most far-left governors in America. The things he has put the poor people of Minnesota through are unforgivable. Just remember the riots of 2020, Minneapolis, the epicenter of the Black Lives Matter movement that burned American cities to the ground. Tim Walz is responsible for that. He supported that. He's an anti-police, defund the police Democrat, and he's just as radically liberal as Kamala Harris.
Now, how do we, though, with the aid of the media, they're already starting, Stephanopoulos and the others, characterize him as Heartland America? I mean, he is in Minnesota, so it's Heartland America.
Well, just because he lives in the heartland doesn't mean he actually holds their values and supports their values in his policy. We're going to continue for the next 91 days to expose Tim Walz for his radical record. I mean, look at the policies he supported: driver's licenses for illegal immigrants, sanctuary city policies, defunding the police. He is anti-American energy. He has signed one of the most extremist environmental laws in the country, a ban on carbon-based fuel in Minnesota by 2040. That is only 14 years away. It is incomprehensible.
Caroline, excuse me, is he on record saying, and I'm sure you guys, if he is, will produce it here for Pennsylvania, he is probably then anti-fracking? Has he said that directly, say, in the last, few years?
He has, and he's also said he wants to criminalize the oil and gas companies in this country.
Wow.
So the good people in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania need to understand that. He is going to take away your jobs and gift them to communist China. And what's that going to do for the cost of living in this country? It's going to continue to increase. There's only one president who's going to protect good-paying fracking jobs and energy jobs in Pennsylvania and Minnesota and every state, and that's President Trump, no doubt about it.
When he comes here, too, I'm suspect that he's able to eat a cheesesteak. He might do a John Kerry. He might have a hoagie on top of the cheesesteak. That's what we're hoping happens here. So, Caroline, what do you think? What's the theory on the pick, since it's obvious that Shapiro, to me, would have made it more difficult here in Pennsylvania? I think Harris, we're hearing, may have been afraid of being upstaged. She's that weak that she went with this guy.
Well, that's possible. I also think it's possible she didn't choose Josh Shapiro because Kamala Harris is catering to the far-left demands of the pro-Hamas terrorist sympathizers in this country. And as you know, your governor, Josh Shapiro, is Jewish. He worked for the IDF in a past life. He's tried to scrub that from his Wikipedia page now, which, again, just proves how far left and anti-Semitic, unfortunately, the Democrat Party has become. And it's very sad that we have a major political party in this country that shows such contempt for Jewish Americans. But I believe that probably played a role in Kamala Harris's decision-making process. However, we won't know until she actually sits down for an interview. I mean, this woman has not done an interview. She's been a dumb party-appointed nominee for more than 2 weeks. Her campaign website doesn't have one single policy on it. She's going to try and run from her record and why she made this decision to pick Tim Walz. But hopefully the media will eventually have the chance to ask her tough questions she needs to answer for.
Caroline, where do we go for all things Trump?
DonaldJTrump.com. We need volunteers, especially in Pennsylvania. So to your listeners, look, we're up against the most far-left ticket in American history. We need all hands on deck. DonaldJTrump.com. And you can follow us on social media, too. Our War Room on Twitter and on Truth Social is amazing. They're always putting out good clips and content.
Well, Caroline, too, a personal note of congratulations. Gave birth 3 weeks ago to beautiful Nicholas. Yet you're back in the center of the ring here fighting for him in the country. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, I did. We need a country for future generations. That's what keeps me going. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you very much here. 855-839-1210. You get on board. AT&T and Verizon Wireless, you push pound 1210. So what do we make of it? It's not just not going with Shapiro. It's an obvious thing. Don't overthink it. Nobody's a genius there. None of these pundits, no spin is going to convince me. If I run the other side and I want to win, then that's all that it's about. You go with Shapiro. He's a killer. He's overrated because he got to run against the dope in Doug Mastriano and all that we went through yesterday talking about that. But still, he would make it very hard to win here in Pennsylvania. I'm kind of thinking, Dan, there's a way of doing this. Will he appear to be all out for Harris Walz and yet tank it in his own way? We'll be watching to see if I see any tanking going in there by Josh Shapiro. Now, he wasn't chosen because of the Hamas wing, the Hate America wing. They secured that vote. And two, at the 11th hour, I'm convinced Harris thought, man, this guy, this personality, they'll say it's chemistry. Yeah, he's a driven guy. He's extremely ambitious. Walz is Andy Mayberry. Let's all go down and have some socialism,
To characterize him as left is so unreal. It's just not what the question. He's right down the middle. He's a heartland of America Democrat.
Oh, God. And I try not to have this antagonist, but I'm sick of hearing about the Midwest. What reminds me of, Dan, why that is? Remember Scott Rowland?
Yep.
Yeah. He didn't want to be here in Philadelphia. We're animals. We're all inspected. He wanted to go to St. Louis. Everybody applause. We're not like that here. We're going to boo you. We're emotional.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, the Eagles only won. I can see them in it. They only lost by a field goal today. Wonderful day. Let's go and do some ice fishing. I wonder if Walz is a good ice fisher. The Midwest is not my style, Dan. I can't see you in the Midwest. You were in Indiana.
I was in Indiana for a while, and there's definitely a different vibe there, and I definitely meshed better, especially at Indiana University, with those from the East Coast. They didn't get sarcasm in the Midwest, which is odd.
They're too nice. Yeah, it's a nice thing.
They're too nice. But the thing is, I think it's very important. I mean, we're here on Philadelphia radio, and I think we can definitely trash the Midwest, but I think it's important for Trump and Vance not to take this stance and not become the basket of deplorables for Hillary Clinton and piss off, Midwesterners.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We're not running for office yet. Yeah, there you go. Sure. But there's something about that, it's flyover country to Democrats. Really.
Yeah.
They're the ones that talk about flyover country. They're the ones that mock it. They're the ones that are on that. They're on the coast. Yet they picked this guy out of some sense, recency bias with the weird. They like the fact that they've convinced themselves he's going to get rural voters in places like Pennsylvania. Now, I'm not doubting he might be able to go in Wisconsin. I don't know Wisconsin well enough, to have a sense of it. But these Pennsylvania rural voters, they're Trump voters. You're not going to come and tell them socialism is just being neighborly. We need more of this guy, in that lecture on socialism is just being neighborly. And
we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
See, this is what the core is with this guy.
Better play on one man's tragedy.
Man, but he brings into play, do you know how enormous it is bringing back George Floyd Summer, the ads and everything else?
Oh, you want to hear what he said during George Floyd?
Yeah, let's hear what he said.
A society that does not put equity and inclusion at the center of it is certainly going to eventually come to the places where we're at.
Yep, that sounds like Jesse Jackson, who told me graffiti, Dom, was the hieroglyphics of the poor. It sounds like that, this type of thing. Well, what do you expect? People are going to blow up ATMs. George Floyd Summer.
J.D. Vance had a great angle on this, Dom.
This is a guy who's proposed shipping more manufacturing jobs to China, who wants to make the American people more reliant on garbage energy instead of good American energy, and has proposed defunding the police just as Kamala Harris does. I think it's interesting, actually. They make an interesting tag team because, of course, Tim Walz allowed rioters to burn down Minneapolis in the summer of 2020, and then the few who got caught, Kamala Harris helped bail them out of jail.
Nicely played. He redounds back to her. She's sending all these spokespeople out there to say, I changed my mind on defunding the police, fracking. No, you didn't. You pick Walz. And these are recent. I mean, he's the sitting governor. He's been talking about this. I'm researching, Dan. There are several reports, but I want to see the full details. How did his daughter apparently get plans on where the National Guard was going to be deployed?
Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry has consistently said what he told us on June 2nd.
I will speak the truth. And the truth is that on Wednesday, around 6 p.m., I called the governor and asked for the National Guard.
Text messages and emails from the mayor's office for Wednesday, May 27th back that up.
Yeah, and the guy was talking about the paperwork's not in order. Then somehow or another, his daughter posts online about where they're going to be deployed, helping the looters. This undercuts all the January 6th talk. It brings George Floyd Summer back into play. We're going to relitigate that. Good. That's not a bad thing at all. But this tells you a lot about Harris. Now, again, I expect she'll still get a bump through the convention. That's the way it works. It's irrational. We'll see. But slowly but surely, you're going to see the giddiness and the honeymoon start to go away. If she had picked Shapiro today, you would have heard those voices, the anti-Semite legions in the Democrat Party. They would have gone nuts, and they were afraid of that. But picking this guy, wow, what kind of baggage must Mark Kelly have, or the Kentucky guy, or even little Pete Buttigieg? Man, oh man, oh man. Apparently they have in their head, though, the contrast, the biracial female from San Francisco versus the heartland of America. Coming up, I've read a lot about this guy as one of, who he reminds me of in his own way? A more aggressive Tom Wolf, Dan. Governor Wolfman Hack. Remember Wolf, the little tyrant? This guy's a little bit more folksy, in-your-face type of Tom Wolf.
Where is Wolf?
He's in Philadelphia somewhere.
Driving a Jeep Wrangler somewhere?
Yeah. But remember what happened during COVID? Wait until you hear this guy, a montage of him handling COVID. He crawls with exactly the types of stuff. And, I understand why people pick a governor. They don't have to vote as much, but you know what? They really can't run from basic policies like COVID, George Floyd Summer. The voting record's one thing. Being governor, though, there's a lot of big decisions you can't run away from. We'll play you a little bit of that next and come to your calls. Hey, now's the time to remind you about Batteries Plus Bulbs. My buddy Roy over at Batteries Plus Bulbs, 2 big stores, Mount Laurel and Northfield. He's looking for help. Yeah, we've talked about this before, that this guy is all out when it comes to fixing your tech, be it phones or whatever it might be, business audits, but also such great customer service. So Roy is looking for a handy do-it-yourselfers would be ideal. Great, low-pressure, part-time job. Customer service is key. If you're willing to do what it takes to help, you need to talk to Roy. Be part of his team at Batteries Plus Bulbs. They power it, they light it, they fix it. Give them a call at 856-638-0778. 856-638-0778. Batteries plus bulbs, 2 big stores, Mount Laurel and Northfield. Give them a call right now. You would love working for this guy. Be part of their team, 856-638-0778.
Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds guaranteed with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into their radio show Sundays at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Dawn Stensland here, along with Mike Chapman. You know I love Chapman Windows, Doors, and Siding. They are celebrating their 30th anniversary. Mike, what's your secret?
One, getting along with family. Sticking to our guns as far as doing things what we know is right for the customer. You know, just making sure the customer satisfaction, and then they do the rest by referring us to other people. You know, we only use products, first of all, that we believe in. We want to put our reputation behind anything that we do sell and install. How we really care about the customer.
Experience for yourself the Chapman difference. It's time to upgrade the look of your home, your windows, doors, siding, shutters. Give Chapman a call or text 610-431-8898, 610-431-8898. Online, ChapmanWindowsDoors.com for all the details. ChapmanWindowsDoors.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
We should do what my brother did. He went to GetCash.com and got $3,000.
With our bad credit?
GetCash.com is different. They're one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope. My brother said it was fast and easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan of up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account as soon as the next day. Our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to GetCash.com and we'll have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to GetCash.com. That's GetCash.com. GetCash.com.
What if I told you your home movies are already past their prime? It's true. The magnetic tape used in VHS and camcorder tapes only lasts between 10 to 20 years, which means your baby's first steps, weddings, and family vacations are fading away as we speak. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box stops this fading process in its tracks. And by preserving your recordings, they're safe forever. Legacy Box is simply the best way to preserve your past, which is why they've been trusted by over 1 million families. Your memories are meant to be shared, not chewed up by the VCR or worn away with time. For a limited time, you can convert your tapes to digital for just $9 a tape. There's never been a better time to convert your entire collection. That includes film reels and photos too. Visit legacybox.com/value to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/value to unlock our $9 offer. legacybox.com/value.
It's Dom time. Dom Giordano. Weekdays, noon till 3 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
All right, Dom Giordano show. Not that it's disqualifying, but I wonder if the media is going to report. But the New York Post is reporting, and DJ just sent me, Dan. We got everybody's on fire here, Dan, this Walls guy. Are they going to say anything about his DUI arrest for driving 96 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone? That might be a little problematic. I don't know. It wouldn't be a school zone, Dom. Come on, 55. He was 31 at the time, working as a teacher, caught on police radar, 96 miles an hour in 55-mile-an-hour zone just before midnight. When a trooper approached his window, he detected strong odor of alcoholic beverage emanating from the vehicle. I don't know if I have the, blood alcohol rate, 0.128%, well above the state's 0.08. Yeah, that's a lot above, I would say. I realize something like that happens, but, just something we'll see if the media reports on this, since they report on everything imaginable with Vance. Here's a little bit of the governor, though, more recently, talking about COVID. What happened? And this guy reminds me of Tom Wolfe with a little bit more down-home farmer type Mayberry than Tom Wolfe, but it's the same sort of little tyrant. Here's what he did during COVID.
I've just signed Executive Order 20-01, declaring a peacetime state of emergency for the state of Minnesota. We need to stop congregating. We're going to close the bars. We're going to close the restaurants. We're going to close the places where we gather. Several 100,000 of your neighbors were just laid off. An entire industry has been shut down in the face of this, all for the greater good.
The governor, with the power of the state constitution behind him, has issued 104 executive orders affecting everything from schools to restaurants and bars to churches to basically every facet of everyday life.
Democrats who control the House are moving in the opposite direction. Some are pushing to put a mask mandate in state law.
Hi ho the Dario, I wear a mask to school. It helps to keep me safe.
Oh, man. Oh, this guy's going to go in rural Pennsylvania, Dan. Hey, that's not socialism.
Yeah,
Put on that mask, buddy. Oh, man. 104 executive orders around this.
Can't wait to hear what our next guest has to say about that.
But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Let's keep that line going. There's the line. There's the money right there. Watch it, Tom. You almost said money blank. No, don't say it here with this guy.
Yes, no.
This guy's only 60. Charlie Gasparino's next. Now, he's on here because the market gone crazy yesterday, coming back today. He's got a book out on woke. We'll ask him about this. And Dan, every time I have him on, I got to go back to trying to do pull-ups. How many pull-ups did you do this morning?
Yeah, none.
You're 6'8". You ought to be able to reach up to anything and just pull yourself up.
Yeah, I'm very awkwardly shaped.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's
no arm muscle.
Swizzle stick.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's ever been hit by a golf ball. All right,
I do
Charlie.
feel small next to this guy, yeah.
Charlie Gasparino from Fox with us because we have this ongoing. Does it swerve into Bidenomics at all? I think it does. It had something to do with Japan, how screwy markets are, sell-offs. We'll see what he says and tells, what's going to happen in the future. But what a day. His book, Go Woke, Go Broke, the inside story of the radicalization of corporate America and apparently how it's moving away. I wonder what Walls would say to that. We'll play it for, hey, neighbor, come on now.
One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Yeah, being woke is just being neighborly. What are you talking about here? All right, 855, Midwest types. He's a New Yorker, Dan. I don't know if we'll cotton to that. You see this guy campaigning in New York? Get out of here, Philadelphia. 855-839-1210. You get in with Dom and Dan on Talk Radio 1210.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the number #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
What happens when Washington liberals spend trillions of dollars? Just look around. Prices are way up. They pushed a bunch of reckless spending, and Senator Bob Casey voted for it. Now we're paying higher gas prices, higher grocery prices, and higher utility bills. Casey helped create this mess by voting with President Biden 98% of the time, including voting for trillions in wasteful spending. Instead of listening to the warnings, Senator Casey sided with the liberals, causing this inflation disaster. Casey voted to let illegals take your tax dollars. He voted to let illegals collect $500 million in COVID relief checks. It's more for illegals and less for us. Come on, Senator Casey. That's just not right. Call Senator Casey at 202-224-6324. Tell him to put Pennsylvania families first and fix his inflation disaster. Support S575, the Fight Inflation Through Balanced Budgets Act. Paid for by One Nation, onenationamerica.org.
By registering for the next Crash Proof Retirement educational event, you'll see real statements from Crash Proof Retirement clients documenting how the exclusive Crash Proof Retirement system credits double-digit interest returns, even during the worst of recent stock market downturns.
Rob Lukens, Birdsboro, Pennsylvania. During COVID, when everything was going down in the stock market, we saw our investment with Crash Proof grow 15%, which was unheard of. Markets weren't growing that way. The interest we made through Crash Proof's investments, we keep it. We don't lose anything. We keep every penny that we invested. The worst that's going to happen is you keep your money. Crash Proof gives me great peace of mind. And I would recommend anybody who sees this or hears this to give Crash Proof a call. Pick the phone up, call. It's simple.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the William Penn Inn on Tuesday, September 17th. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
It is Dom time. Charlie Gasparino is one of the great business/generalists you'll see on Fox News and Fox Business. The author of the new book, Go Woke, Go Broke, the inside story of the radicalization of corporate America. But I think the tale is that it's changing. But this ticket that we're seeing in front of us is not a reflection of that at all, with Walz arguably as far left, and particularly on energy, wanting to put in jail fossil fuel people there, Dan, in Minnesota. Oh, come on now, telling the people in upstate Pennsylvania about fracking. You don't want to be doing that. Can't go ice fishing like in Minnesota. All right. Let's go to Charlie Gasparino here on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Charlie, congrats on the new book. And I hope that you're right, that coming out of this, corporate America has regained its mind.
Yeah, well, corporate America has regained its mind, but not Kamala Harris. I mean, she's about as woke as you get. She actually admits it. I don't know if you've seen some of the clips floating around about her talking about how, and it was kind of funny because she's telling like these these two other women that interviewing her about the woke stuff and giggling and.
Charlie, we'll play it for everybody. You're right, and particularly the blonde woman who's liberal herself is frozen in horror of how she's doing this. Here's how it sounded, Charlie.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
Yeah,
boy,
there is that.
Yeah. That's a selling endorsement of wokeism. I mean, she's a dingbat. I mean, what else are we going to say here? I mean, I don't know. I mean, she's clearly a dingbat, and does that mean she's not tough as nails, and because she is, and hyper ambitious because she is. But when it comes to sort of articulating a position, and when it comes to policy, when it comes to explaining herself, she's a dodo bird. I mean, it's so obvious. I mean, it doesn't, and that's why we haven't heard from her. I mean, J.D. Vance is out there taking all sorts of slings and arrows. Say what you want about him if you don't like him. Give him credit for at least being there and answering the questions. I mean, Kamala Harris has literally been the vice president for 4 years, and she still can't take a question. I mean, Joe Biden can't take a question because he's losing it upstairs. She can't take a question, I guess, because she has nothing upstairs. I mean, who knows? It was just, this is...
Yeah, well, Charlie, to that point, here's what she said about the causes of inflation, exactly what you're talking about.
Bread costs more, the gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry.
Yes, it's somebody who didn't read the book in fourth grade and is trying to do the book report for kill 2 minutes here, Charlie. It is stunning. So yesterday,
well, it's stunning because working class people are looking for answers, right?
Right.
They don't need to be told at a very rudimentary level what they already know. I mean, they already know they can't put food on the table. Inflation is eating away at their earnings. It's hard to fill up their tank for gas. I mean, that's we know that. I mean, the fact that she actually thought it was smart to try to elucidate on something so benign and so sort of pedestrian is mind-boggling. It just blows me away how she got the job in the first place, other than the fact that Joe Biden put a strict restriction on who he was going to bring in as vice president following the George Floyd riots. And, he said it was going to be a woman, then he said it was going to be a black woman, and she checked the boxes. I mean, that's it. I mean, because, on the merits, I mean, think about it this way. When she ran for Attorney General of California, she barely won. She was,
right.
It was razor thin in California because there were questions about her management and leadership. When she ran when she became a senator, she wasn't in the Senate that long. She didn't do that much, but she was a senator. She got elected in a very blue state, by the way. And when she ran for president, she had one good moment where she basically called Joe Biden a racist. And if you don't believe me, just listen to how she brought up how she was the little girl on the bus, like she was, crossing the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I mean, she was a rich kid whose father was a Berkeley professor and mother was a biologist. You know what I'm saying? And she made Joe Biden cringe a little bit. He felt uncomfortable fighting her back on that because he didn't want to annoy the base. But after that, it was all downhill. Tulsi Gabbard cleaned her clock in a second. The next debate, she didn't get a single delegate, and now she's on the precipice of being president of the United States. It's really scary stuff. And I took a little heat by calling her the DEI. She could be our first DEI president. But I don't know how this shoe doesn't really fit because Joe Biden said he has DEI throughout his administration, including at the vice president level, which, by the way, was one of the dumbest things to say because you're downgrading her skills immediately. But, as corporate America is moving away from DEI, the Democratic Party is endorsing it 100%. And by the way, her bringing in this guy Walt is another example because he's Mr. DEI as governor of Minnesota. And DEI one of the more pernicious parts of DEI is a degree of anti-Israel and yes, anti-Semitism. So you got to ask yourself, is that why Josh Shapiro? Now you guys are in Pennsylvania, you know better than me. He's got a 60% approval rating in a purple state, in a swing state that is needed. I mean, why wasn't he the vice president? And he's actually kind of good at his job.
Well, two things, Charlie. One, you're right. It's the anti-Semitic stuff. It's also, we believe that she was afraid of being upstaged by him. He's more capable. He would appear that way even in the second role. Even John Fetterman told her that. He's ambitious. she can't handle that, to your point. So she went with this guy who is very radical. Wanted to ask you about the markets yesterday. Last time you and I talked, there was a market drop, and you said don't sweat it. Yesterday, a lot of people were saying the same thing, which is, and I'm looking at the recovery today. Does this have anything to do with the effect on energy, Biden policy, and also housing and middle America unable finally, due to inflation, to be consuming and doing all that? I know there's the Japanese yen and all that inside stuff that you would know about.
Right. Yeah, I mean, listen, for about 2 or 3 years since we've had elevated prices, first it was raging inflation, right? Then the inflation rate came down. Prices still remain pretty high, more so than wage gains, right? So, the middle class and the working class has been saying this economy ain't that great. Finally, Wall Street is waking up to certain cracks in the economy. And, yes, there was a complicating factor with an unwind of a yen carry trade, which we don't have to get into, that caused selling of U.S. stocks, essentially because the Bank of Japan raised interest rates. It strengthened the yen. That means you take losses on your yen, so you got to sell your yen-denominated assets, so you got to sell your U.S. stocks, okay? So, 30,000 feet thing there. But, yes, there's cracks in the U.S. economy, which it's almost certain that we're going through a slowdown. The question is, do we go into recession? And I think that's where people are betting in the markets today. If you notice, the markets are up today 400, 500 points. Well, they didn't reverse the losses of the last couple of days. And, it could be down tomorrow, 500 points on a bad, this is a recovery this is kind of a relief rally that it's, the yen carry trade is over. But, there's still the whole thing about the economy and how that impacts corporate earnings. And, if you get some weaker corporate earnings, weaker than expected, this thing could get pretty hairy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Charlie, thank you. Go woke, go broke. The inside story of the radicalization.
Don't go woke, guys. Do not go woke, guys. Else you'll go broke. The funny thing is, this book is funny. You will see Wall Street and corporate America stepping on the you-know-what to go woke in ways that are and it goes beyond the trans woman in the bubble bath drinking a Budweiser. I got a lot of stuff there.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have you back to flesh out more of it soon. Charlie, thank you again. Thanks for joining us.
All right, guys. Talk to you.
Charlie Gasparino here in Philadelphia. So market rebounding today, but there was a lot of talk. Again, this is the type of stuff that's going to break through this giddiness, and it did to a degree, but this decision today really breaks through it with Walls, and I hope more people are recognizing it's not just the Hamas vote of the Democrat Party, it's also this guy would upstage her. There was a fear there. Fetterman stoked it, and Walls is not going to do that. So they convinced themselves, man, this guy will be great in rural Pennsylvania. Watch where they send him. It must tell you they're very nervous about Wisconsin, Michigan. I've always said that Michigan appears to be very tough for Trump to win, possible. But the win is in Pennsylvania. That's the spot. Whoever wins Pennsylvania is going to be president. I mean, this is the 11th commandment. So you're going to put this guy in and keep Shapiro on the bench. Wow. And the media is all over. The media theme today, the narrative is Heartland America, Midwest. They love it. Now, when do the big cable and the big TV and all that, when do they really love flyover country? That's what they call it, flyover country. That's where he's from. That's what they're talking about being represented here. Flyover country. Well, that's going to be the narrative, though. Oh, the perfect fit, Heartland America. That's the values Democrats need. Why? Because they mock it all the time. They're anti-flyover country. They're too hip for the room. Yeah. You don't need these guys. Suddenly you do. That's the narrative. I think it's about anti-Semitism. I think it's about her fear of being upstaged. That's how weak she is. And that's why she did this. Imagine now, tonight, Shapiro's got to suck it up and introduce the two of them this afternoon, 5 o'clock at the Leah Center. Wow. And then the baggage of this guy. This is the George Floyd summer. You can't do better than this if you're Republicans. Look, I would never say Republicans can't blow it, but here's one. Let's stop talking for a while about Harris and all the racial identity and all that stuff. Let's center in on Walz bank shotting to Harris. That's where you want to go here. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210, AT&T, and Verizon Wireless. All you have to do is just push pound 1210. By the way, the other baggage is most people think this is the most progressive ticket in American history. The AOCs of the world, the Bernie Sanders and all, they're thrilled with this guy. And they just believe that this guy is like the progressive whisperer. He knows how to be ultra progressive, but to win rural voters. Are you kidding me? Do you really think? Look, let's go back. We have another montage, Dan. This is one of him talking about fossil fuels. Is that the?
No, this was him talking about the third precinct during the George Floyd and the calling for National Guard.
Okay. Listen to this, and then coming up, I want to break down why Trump got to rural America, these forgotten towns, tank towns. You know, America went to Canada and Mexico and all that. Why did Trump resonate there? You remember in 2016, we had reports of people waiting in lines in these rural areas, people that hadn't voted before, they hadn't been motivated. They're saying this guy can reach those people as a socialist. He's going to say it just being neighborly, and they're all going to go for this. No. Now, Trump is fine. He's not a Republican. We're going to cut all these programs or whatever, but he's not far left like this guy is. He's in a good spot. He's a populist. This guy's a socialist. He's going to win rural America like he did in Minnesota. He's going to take it to Trump and certainly Vance, where they live in upstate Pennsylvania, in places western Pennsylvania. Really? And they're going to say to him, well, wait a minute, though. You hate the military, defund the police, George Floyd summer and all that. Yeah, but we're going to give you more. He's able to thread the needle, they keep on saying. Socialist policies, but folksy. That's how you get them. Here's a little bit about the third precinct during those riots in the George Floyd summer.
Also testimony from a Minneapolis police union official who says that the governor ordered cops to abandon that third precinct during the spring's rioting.
I was in the command post. I heard it. I heard the governor say, give it up.
At 9:32, Chief Arredondo calls the mayor to tell him they've lost control, can no longer maintain order in the city. And then at 10:13, Chief Arredondo, who's monitoring the scene from a couple blocks away, gets on the radio to announce defeat.
The citywide tone right now in our loss of the third precinct.
The third precinct has been compromised.
The mayor said I request the National Guard. Ooh, this is great. We're going to have massively trained troops. No, you're going to have 19-year-olds who are cooks.
There you go. You know what? You never give in to these people. That's what they celebrate. That's what makes them worse. You don't give in a police station. You don't give in a shopping center. You take them out right there. They feed off this. You hear the attitude? Oh, they're 19-year-old cooks. What are they going to do? All right, this guy's got incredible baggage. I'm shocked it came down to him and Shapiro, in addition to not tagging Shapiro in.
Did they do research?
Yeah, I think they did. She seems to be a lot of overkill here, Dan, but I think they sold themselves on this narrative. This guy with the weird thing, recency bias, your thing, yeah. And also, he knows how to thread the needle. He knows how to get through to these rubes in rural Pennsylvania. We'll see. We'll see if this guy's greeted. Gone to upstate or western Pennsylvania. Yeah, this guy speaks our language. He gets us. Not like Trump. So what was the Trump secret sauce breaking through with people in rural Pennsylvania in 2016? He also won Michigan, which shocked me, and Wisconsin. But I was on with Rich that night, and we didn't want to call it when it looked like Pennsylvania was going to go Trump. It was shocking. You know, your heart's broken many times in Pennsylvania. Seems like it's a swing state, but he actually did it. Why? And can this guy counter it? That's the big thing they're playing with here. Also, Josh Shapiro's too ambitious. Oh, my God, this woman is just incredible. Instead of, I want to win that state, I'll know how to deal with Josh Shapiro if I have to. Win me that state, buddy. That's what I want. All right, 855-839-1210. You get in with Dom and Dan on Talk Radio 1210.
Real funny thing real quick?
Yes.
This is from today's rally down in South Philly.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, God. Let's get off the cat lady stuff. All right. The cat lady loves you. How big the crowd? It's a small place. It's tight there, so I'm not sure. If you're coming back from that and listening, let us know what it was like there with J.D. Vance at the ECW headquarters there in South Philly. 855-839-1210.
Talk Radio 1210's Huge Politics and Pints with Donald Trump Jr. is moving to Thursday, September 12th. Join Dom Giordano as he talks to Donald Trump Jr. about all things Trump. Just 2 days after the planned presidential debate. The new date, Thursday, September 12th at Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood. Your tickets include a copy of Letters to Trump by former President Trump. A cash bar will be available. Get your tickets now at 1210WPHT.com. That's 1210WPHT.com.
For eligible individuals 18 and older only. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
How are your hearing aids sounding now?
A little tinny.
Okay, 2 seconds.
With Jabra Enhanced Select's premium package, better hearing doesn't happen in a doctor's office. It happens at home. All done remotely from initial testing to adjustments.
How are they sounding now?
Fantastic. So much better. You get the same advanced hearing aid technology and professional support you expect from a clinic at a fraction of the cost. And if you have any issues, we'll make adjustments 7 days a week, no charge.
Oh, you people are wonderful.
Our premium package includes hearing aids, 3 years of follow-up care, plus a 3-year warranty with loss and damage coverage, and a 100-day money-back guarantee.
I hear better than I ever thought possible.
Save $300 on Enhanced Select 500 hearing aids automatically at checkout. Just go to JabraEnhance.com/try. That's JABRA Enhance.com/try. JabraEnhance.com/try.
How did your son or daughter do in school this year? These summer months is the time to make the call to Kathy Ganna and New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown at 800-300-0003. Prepare your student for back to school now. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, a pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, there's a student-teacher ratio of 2-to-1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders like high anxiety, social and emotional, and including bipolar. Do not wait. Help your students start strong. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for a no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today at 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering the C40 lease for 36 months for under $500 to qualified buyers. This is a really fun Volvo to drive. We also have a huge selection of certified Volvos. And what about $15,000 off when leasing a 2024 XC90 hybrid? This is an incredibly fabulous Volvo. It's the Volvo I drive. Visit us here at Cherry Hill Volvo for the attention and respect you deserve.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Vice President Kamala Harris picks Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. Mayor Parker says property taxes in the city are expected to rise starting next year. The Philadelphia School District is still looking to hire more teachers over the next few weeks.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
All right, Tom Giordano Show. Welcome in. Interesting, Dan. Pete Hegseth may have said this. Dan's looking for it. So, Pete, we hope to get on as a Minnesotan from Fox. But apparently, this military background of being in the National Guard is under fire with Walz because they think he may have overdone his service. And there's a lot of dispute about how he got out of the National Guard when they were going to be deployed to Iraq. Now, if you remember, this was something that the media went wild, Dan Rather, with George W. Bush, and also back to Dan Quayle. I remember that with Quayle particularly. It was white hot. So as the media, when they're talking about that, their narrative they've settled on is a guy from the Midwest. This head of a local union here in Philadelphia, AFL-CIO, said, yeah, we're kind of saddened about Shapiro, but, you know, we got this guy from the Midwest. Is the media going to ask them the question, how blatant can you be? Do you think Josh Shapiro didn't get it because he's Jewish and a supporter of Israel? Now, the question I know in my heart of hearts with Kamala Harris, he didn't get it also because he would upstage her. He'd be seen as too capable alongside the word salad queen. So the head of the AFL-CIO says, this guy will fit right in. He's a fishing hole, hunting, cabin guy. That's Tim Walz. Going to be sitting around in cabins. Dan, I'm going out in the field this time. When he comes to rural Pennsylvania, I got to get there and get some sound to people in those towns as this guy comes through. It ain't going to be Minnesota, I think. So Pete Hegseth apparently referenced this today on Fox, this National Guard issue with this guy. And again, when it was Quayle, when it was George W. Bush, there was hell to pay around this. And you can decide whether the media was correct or not. We'll see if they do this with Walz. But this is a gift today. This brings into play so many things about Harris, too, and about the people around her and what they've decided to do. And as far as I'm concerned, Trump has the edge in Pennsylvania. Even with Shapiro, I thought it was going to be very, very tight. Without Shapiro, and I don't know about you, maybe it's a small point by what I do every day. If I hear one more person say the VP doesn't matter, I just don't understand what world they're living in. In a really tight race, say of under 20, 30,000 votes, it was only 80 the last time. It's going to be a lot tighter this time. I don't see Trump, if he does lose Pennsylvania, by losing by anything like 80,000 votes. That's ridiculous. Much better mail-in balloting, much better election integrity. That's not going to happen. But I will be very surprised after they blanked on this that Trump doesn't win Pennsylvania. He's got to be the favorite in Pennsylvania now, the way this is shaping up. And Harris picked one of the most radical people you can pick. I don't care how folksy they think this clown is. He's Bernie Sanders without any kind of the curmudgeonly charm or anything else. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. You get on board. Side question today. This day is the memory of the commemoration, the bombing of Hiroshima. Next year will be 80 years. Give us that film that depicted tremendously a real-life event, not a biopic, but the event is what we're looking for. We gave you a bunch of them, All the President's Men, Oppenheimer, Titanic, Sully. Let's go to Kathy in Sewell. Hey, Kathy, good afternoon.
Hi, how you doing today?
Good, Kathy. Very good.
Good. So my pick is Apollo 13.
Oh, great one.
Yeah, great one. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of backstory of the family, Tom Hanks. I forget the wife, who plays the wife. But in the main, it's failure's not an option. It's taking a flawed mission that America will never forget because we got him back home.
Right, and the reason we won't forget it is the movie.
Yeah.
I did not know anything about it until that movie came out.
That is a good point, Kathy. That's a very good one, Apollo 13. I don't know if Ed Harris won awards for that, but when he does that, failure's not an option. We're going to figure something out of this. It's stunning. Anita is at the rally, or the Vance rally now breaking up. Anita, thank you. Thanks for checking in. What can you tell us about it?
Hi, Dom. I got there about 10 o'clock. You know, you had to be on a list, first of all, to get there because it was a pop-up just of 2 days. So a lot of people weren't on the list. And then after the list people went in, they let the public, whoever was in line, get in. So that's the way they worked it. It was a full house in there because the 2300 arena is not very, very big in there. But it was a full house, and it was absolutely electrifying, and J.D. Vance is a very dynamic individual. He has a lot of presence. He touched on a lot of points, and he had a few speakers. A woman spoke about someone of addiction in her family with all the drugs and fentanyl coming through, with the way our economy is now with the Democrats, with the fentanyl and the border being open. How all the drugs are coming through, which is true. And it's a triple effect. When one suffers, we all suffer. So it affects the entire world. Just, and he had a couple individual families or people talking about their people, being subjected to that violence, so to speak, because being, drug addicted is a violence to the human being. But anyhow, I loved it. It was great. And he only talked for about an hour, and he did a lot of selfies at the end, and people had some hats, Trump hats he was autographing. And some woman a woman outside asked the Secret Service if the Philadelphia police were they, according to what happened with Trump back, July 13th, the Secret Service communications and the Philadelphia police were supposed to be in sync, but they weren't. So we were asking the Philadelphia police if they were in sync, communicado-wise with the Secret Service, which should have, or did they said was that way at the July thing in Butler, PA. But the Philadelphia police said no. They weren't working with Secret Service at all. They just were there on their own, for the neighborhood control.
Oh, goodness. Nita, thank you very, very much. Appreciate that report. Not that last part here and that. All right. Great friend of the show, Liz Priate-Havey. You have that, Dan?
Yeah, just a little bit of Hegseth.
Here's a little bit of Hegseth. Now, watch for this. We're a little bit ahead of the curve. Thanks, DJ, finding this, and Dan finding Hegseth. So this guy Walz, they're playing up the military part. But if it's true, like Quayle, like the George W. Bush, you remember that he left the National Guard because they were headed to Iraq. Here's what Hegseth said.
The chaos of the George Floyd riots are well known. What's less well known is the COVID fraud, feeding our future $250 million that he oversaw and allowed to happen. And we're going to hear a lot more about his military background, Harris. This is a guy who was a sergeant major, who was about to be a command sergeant major, had been training his whole life with his unit, and then a deployment to Iraq came. And Walz said, no, I'm not doing it. I'm out. I'm getting out. I'm running for Congress. His whole unit went to Iraq. He stayed behind, and a lot of his other members have called him out for that. He's also radical on sex changes for minors.
All right, thanks for hold on to that one, Dan. Now, that's pretty severe stuff. All right, Liz Priate-Havey, former chair of Montgomery County Republicans and also across Pennsylvania with us next. What happened here with Josh Shapiro? What does it tell us? And also rural Pennsylvania. This guy's going to come in, this cabin guy, and he's going to talk to people there and reaffirm what Democrats are about. Look, in Minnesota, they have that tradition of the Progressive Party and all that in the rural areas. You really think people in rural Pennsylvania, they're going to choose this message versus Trump? We'll get to that next here on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, first, though, let me remind you that it's time to get Rescue Natural Supplements during their annual Customer Appreciation Sale. Rescue is celebrating you. Save 50% when you mix and match any 5 products or more with the code VIP50. Plus, you'll receive free shipping. Try the popular Rescue 1250 Omega-3 for heart health, Rescue Probiotic for better digestion, or Rescue Orosine for more energy. Again, mix and match any 5 or more single bottles and enjoy 50% off plus free shipping. To place an order, visit res-q.com or call 800-26-ALIVE. Again, that's 800-262-5483. Speak with a knowledgeable Rescue product consultant. And if you're new to Rescue, be sure to create your own account to earn more exclusive savings. Again, use the code VIP50 to receive 50% off and free shipping when you mix and match 5 or more Rescue Natural Supplements. The code again is VIP50 at res-q.com.
Weather sponsored by Morgan & Morgan.
A very humid air mass will fuel some strong to severe storms later this afternoon with a high 93. Flood watch remains in effect into Wednesday. Shower and storm chances continue tonight with a low 72. And for Wednesday, cooler with clouds and a few showers around with a high 78.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, VH1, TLC, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR, so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere, for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC+. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's philo.tv.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
All right, Tom Giordano's show. So if you're the head of the Republicans out of Montgomery County, Josh Shapiro, footprints all over the place, Valerie Arkush you're dealing with, Leslie Richards, who's such a success running the transportation department in SEPTA and all. Liz Priade-Havey has a lot of Pennsylvania knowledge, a lot of insight into Josh Shapiro. Let's bring Liz back on here on Talk Radio 1210 on the Dom Show. Hey, Liz, good afternoon. Dan has a statement from Stacey Garrity, the treasurer in Pennsylvania, that I think summarizes, and I wanted to get your sense of what she said about Shapiro.
She says, while I disagree with Josh Shapiro on many matters of policy, no Pennsylvanian can fail to take offense at the shabby and unwarranted attacks directed at him by some members of his own party, even a member of his party's statewide ticket. His support of democracy in the Middle East and educational choice for families trapped in failing public schools are mainstream positions. It is regrettable that in a state known for moderation and common decency, the governor's worst enemies turned out to be the members of his own party.
Liz?
Well, listen, the one of the people who led the fight against Josh Shapiro is the Democratic candidate for treasurer. So Stacey has an interest and knows what she's talking about here. That being said, I think some of the complaints that were made about him, for example, from John Fetterman, were real. And there's some reports that they really weighed heavily on Harris's decision. The reports that he is too much about himself. He's not a team player. Reports that the video that he apparently had a hand in producing, or his campaign, that was posted by Mayor Sherrell Parker, also, according to some reporters, are saying weighed heavily against him, thinking that he's just too political and pushing too hard. So I agree with what Stacey said, but I think there are other things at work. Another thing, of course, which nobody can deny, is the progressives pushing him out a lot because of his positions on Israel, and then obviously on school choice and other issues, but mainly on Israel.
Yeah, on Israel. I mean, I think, and Liz, this shows me something about Harris, too, that she could not deal with this. And it seems to be an unusual choice with this guy. They talked themselves into rural Minnesota, where he may have had some success, is the same thing as rural Pennsylvania.
You know, I disagree with that, but I think that she was between a rock and a hard place. They know their base. They know their base is much more pro-Palestinian than pro-Israel, and they know that they need to win Michigan, and they've already seen lots of voters saying to the polls they weren't going to vote for Biden because he was pro-Israel. So she really needs a united Democratic convention. And there was people, I don't know if you follow Mark Halperin. He's a sort of he's a reporter, and he's a Josh Shapiro fan, and he reported that even Obama was not supporting Shapiro in the end because of the concerns that this could be break the unity of the party. Progressives could go crazy at the convention and sit home.
Wow. Well, you know better Pennsylvania. I would defer to you, but my gut instinct on this whole thing, the math adds up this way. Whoever wins Pennsylvania, unless there's some weird stuff that happens, is going to be president. So if I'm strong, I got to say I may have that, but what are they going to do? I got to lock up Pennsylvania. And I hate to say it, but I think Shapiro would give them a very good shot at winning Pennsylvania. Do you think he wouldn't?
No, I think he would help, but it could be on the margins. I don't know how much it would help. You know, he's never been vetted, and that started happening very heavily in the last week. So, I'm sure there'll be, things come out, and then he would take a lot of punches, so he wouldn't be up at, 60% approval by the end of this, I wouldn't think. But could he help turn out a little bit more votes in the Southeast? I think so. And I do think because Walz was picked, it does mean the Never Trumpers don't really have an avenue with Harris. I mean, listen, she's doubling down on her progressive bona fides. She's a California progressive. Walz is just as progressive, if not more than her. So it's a hard argument for the Never Trumpers in the suburbs to say, I feel good with Harris.
That is a great point. I see people like Jim Greenwood, who I can't have back on the show again. Look, I know they don't like Trump's personality, or Christine Todd Whitman endorsed Harris. Can they still do that when she goes with a Walz, just telling you where they're going? You just, particularly, Liz, on...
Well, yes, they do. They're not Republicans. I mean, at that point, now we're really drawing the line, because for Biden, there was an argument. There really isn't an argument on the issues, and she could decide to moderate when she speaks, but the reality is her choice for VP shows she is not a moderate, period, end of story.
So you were always my go-to in the suburbs, and so does this mean there is more, Trump just has to do marginally better in the Philadelphia area? Because I think the mail-in ballot stuff across the state, and you were one of the first 2 years ago, when it was heresy to say that. I think it's going better. Sean Parnell, people like that, I think they're doing a good job. What is the issue then? Is it just inflation, economy, and all that in the four collar counties? And does Trump tap into that effectively?
He's not going to win the Southeast.
No.
But again, it's all on the margins. Can he pick up a few thousand votes? Do a couple thousand people sit home? I've heard from a number of Jewish friends today. They're really upset. They feel that this pick shows that the Democrats have caved into their, anti-Israel base, a lot of whom are anti-Semitic. And I think, there's going to be some Jewish voters who are going to say, I'm just not comfortable voting Democrat right now. And they might have, and they probably did before, but right now they may say no. So I do think that in Pennsylvania, Trump is better off, obviously, with Josh Shapiro not on the ticket.
Yeah, exactly. So any other observation, Liz, of what you see either here or how this plays out anywhere?
Well, listen, Trump's winning on the issues. The question is, can he just stick to the message on the issues and not, step out too far? Everybody knows he's not going to be the traditional candidate, but can he just talk about the issues? Will something happen in the economy? Will there be a strike in Israel or something going on in Gaza that will impact? Probably. I mean, this has been the wildest ride we've had in a presidential, election in years. So something could happen, but I think Trump is still on the path to victory, in my view. And I think this Walz pick, it was a safe one for her, but it's also I think, a sad state of affairs for the Democratic Party. When you have to lean in to go hard left with your VP, it's not good for the country.
No, without a doubt. Liz, thank you. Thanks a lot, as always.
You're welcome.
Liz Priate-Havey here on Talk Radio 1210. So he has to do marginally better in the suburbs than the last time. And the mail-in balloting thing is going to help. They really think this guy's going to – I'm telling you, this National Guard thing, we're working to get Pete Hegseth on. It's very reminiscent, or it's worse, Dan. Here's why it's worse. Bush, they were trying to say went AWOL. He was a pilot. Quayle, there was an issue about he was protecting Indiana, not somewhere else, and there was hell to pay over it. This guy, to Hegseth's point, was a leader, was sergeant major and going to be promoted, and decided he was going to drop out rather than go to Iraq. We were at war. It was Iraq. These are the troops that he trained, Dan, and he was in leadership. I wouldn't be saying military guy as Democrats are. And is the media, New York Post reporting it, is arrested. I mean, of course they're not going to want to report this. This guy could have a baggage here that is something that could blow up pretty quickly. But to Liz's point, what does he bring? Minnesota's not a swing state. He reopens George Floyd. And the military record part, good on Hegseth to have that, opens up here that service that we've been told before when it was Republican candidates they went after. The narrative they seem to have settled on, this guy is a Midwest guy. You can't do better than the Midwest. Really? Is that how the media usually treats the Midwest? Usually it's a phrase, flyover country, more than anything. All right, coming up, 855-839-1210, you get in. Then the shame of it is, look, if you're a Jewish, where's the ADL today? They haven't commented. They were commenting yesterday saying, well, if Josh Shapiro's not picked, we'd have to have a lot of questions about that they're anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel. Of course they are. They're telling you that. Big time. They seethe with it. Why not say it today? That's one of the major reasons he wasn't picked. As far as not being a team player, I've seen people put up with a lot more stuff. If I'm winning Pennsylvania, Dan, I'll figure out, hey, I know Josh Shapiro is not taking one for the team, not taking a walk. He's still swinging for. I'll deal with that later on. I'm going to win Pennsylvania. That's the mission.
I have some audio from Vance if you want it.
Okay. Yeah, let's hear from J.D. Vance.
Tim Walz's record is a joke. He's been one of the most far-left radicals in the entire United States government at any level. But I think that what Tim Walz's selection says is that Kamala Harris has bent the knee to the far left of her party, which is what she always does. Kamala Harris listened to the Hamas wing of the party. She selected Tim Walz, a guy who wants to ship more manufacturing jobs to China, who wants to give illegal aliens driver's license, and who wants to make the fentanyl crisis that we just heard about so much worse because he refuses to do his job and actually make it easier for American citizens and not illegal aliens to live a good life. So I think what it says is that Kamala Harris is running as a San Francisco liberal. She is governed as a San Francisco liberal, and she's chosen a running mate who will be a San Francisco-style liberal. The last thing that I'll say about Tim Walz is, to her credit, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz do make an interesting team because if we remember the rioting in the summer of 2020, Tim Walz was the guy who let rioters burn down Minneapolis, and then Kamala Harris was the one who bailed the rioters out of jail. So there's an interesting team in that sense.
So just a producer's note, he said that same line on the airplane on the way.
Yeah, they've been sitting on that line, Dan. Yes, exactly. Yeah. When you're going to get a line like that, Tim Walz, good to meet you. Do you know Kamala Harris? You know, the end point here. I like it. They were setting that up. Prosecutor bailing people out or setting fire to the city. This guy says abandon precinct 3. That's the type of guy you want in there. You never abandon the police thing. You stand in there, if they keep on firebombing, somebody's going to get shot. That's how it works. You're not abandoning, if you remember. And remember Ali Velci standing there saying, mostly peaceful protests. Meanwhile, giant flames are behind the guy. Come on, Ali, mostly peaceful. What percentage was peaceful? Well, there was only 10% firebombing going on. You know, that's not a lot, right? All right, let's talk Dr. Bentz for a moment. I've told you for years about my friend, dentist, and board-certified prosthodontist, Dr. Robert Bentz, and the Bentz Dental Group. He's known for helping you overcome fear and anxiety. He's known for unbelievable dental care that I get. I had a permanent tooth put in recently, and in the past, you know, it's always too high. How high is that? It's like the high jump going on here in the dental office. Not this time. Bang, right in. Dom, I know you're busy. Get out of here. You're all set. Why is that? Well, great staff, great skill, and also that 3D printer, the art of the 3D printer, your convenience, your comfort, your fit. You're not going to get better dental care anywhere, particularly maybe you have some fear and anxiety. This is the place to go. It is the Bentz Dental Group. Find them at bentzdentalgroup.com. Call for that appointment today. Tell them Dom sent you at 610-272-6949. bentzdentalgroup.com, 610-272-6949.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Oops. Ever had your singing lessons cut short by icy water?
Oh, I'm sorry, honey.
Say goodbye to those cold notes with Navien tankless water heaters. With Navien, you'll hit all the right notes without the surprise chill. So keep singing and let Navien keep the hot water flowing. And get ready for the encore when you get your utility bill.
La 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 la.
Navien tankless water heaters. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400.
Hi, it's Rich Zioli. I'm joined here today by my friend, the co-president and CEO of Cooper University Healthcare, the one and only Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli. Dr. Maz and I are here to tell you about our buddy, Dr. Mike Venaria. Not only is he my dentist, he's my family's dentist as well. And not sure if you knew this, he's Dr. Maz's dentist too.
That's right, Rich. Dr. Mike Venaria is and has been my dentist also. And you know, doctors choosing doctors, that can be quite a selective process. And not only do I go to him, but for years, my sister and my niece and my nephew, the whole family goes.
Well, it's no secret. We're all all delighted by the care that Dr. Mike Veneria and his award-winning team provide, and you need to check him out.
Whether you're looking for pediatric, general, cosmetic, implant dentistry, you don't need to look any further. Dr. Veneria's office does everything. Dr. Veneria's office also exceeds all CDC guidelines and has always maintained the strictest infection control, like their centralized UV sterilization of airflow, which is incredibly important to me.
Locations are right over the bridge in Cinnaminson and Woodbury. Your perfect smile's waiting. Call 856-786-2020 or visit veneriadental.com.
Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
We should do what my brother did. He went to GetCash.com and got $3,000.
With our bad credit?
GetCash.com is different. They're one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope. My brother said it was fast and easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan of up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account as soon as the next day. Our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to getcash.com and we'll have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to getcash.com. That's getcash.com. Getcash.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com. Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me. 40 days up to 40 pounds. Shed that summer vacation weight by reaching out to NJ Diet. You will lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days and without any shots. NJ Diet is all natural. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone so you can finally lose that weight. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Locations in Newark, Delaware, King of Prussia, and Cherry Hill, or available worldwide with live online video consultations. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or schedule your consultation today by going to njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com. 40 days up to 40 pounds. 40 days up to 40 pounds.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
All right, time to your Dano show. Everybody welcome in at 855-839-1210. So we'll have momentarily, J.D. Vance asked a question. We're not sure if it was by the Philadelphia Inquirer today. And, the line of questioning is not exactly how they go with, say, Larry Krasner, telling Vance that his remarks on families have offended millions of American families. And I think Vance had a very good response to this.
So I don't have the question, but I have his answer.
Okay.
You want to hear his answer?
Yeah, so let me rephrase it here, Dan. So we have this reporter. He actually took questions at the event down in South Philly today, unlike Kamala Harris. And we'll see what Walls does when he's not ice fishing. This guy, dumb ice. I can't help it, the ice fishing. Just too much. Anyhow, here's Walls. Here's Vance. Here's his response to the reporter saying how this offended millions of families.
Drug cartels bring across that open border. Now, you asked about the remarks that I made that were, you said that they were offensive to millions of women. Well, here's what I'd say. Thank you, ma'am. I love you too. What I said is very simple. I think American families are good and government policy should be more pro-family. Now, if the media wants to get offended about a sarcastic remark I made before I even ran for the United States Senate, then the media is entitled to get offended. You know what I'm offended by? I'm offended that normal Americans can't afford grocery prices. I'm offended that Kamala Harris opened up the American southern border and allowed fentanyl to come into our communities. And I'm offended that she wants to be the people's president, but she won't even answer tough questions. That's what I'm offended by, and I think that's what most Americans are offended by, too. And I guess on that note, I should say, Thank you all for having me. It's great to be here. If I can ask you to just do one thing. We have got thank you. We have got an incredible amount of momentum.
All right, so J.D. Vance, that's skillful, bringing it back and also pushing back on the media being offended by this. All right, and again, not apologizing for it, not endorsing it, saying it was sarcastic. That was well played. All right, your calls, Dom's Money Melody. We're going to talk with the Senate pro tempore, the head of the Senate in Pennsylvania, Senator Kim Ward, who's had a lot of back and forth with Josh Shapiro. What does she think happened here? This is a gift. This guy is a tremendous gift. Watch this National Guard stuff going on with Walls. All right, all that coming up. Big 2 o'clock hour on Talk Radio 1210.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Fargo is only available on the smartphone versions of the Wells Fargo mobile app. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Hi, everyone. Matt here from Emmons Roofing and Siding. There are a lot of companies out there that say they do roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Some good, some not so good. Be careful of those that say buy two, get two free. Does that really make sense? Think about it. At Emmons, we don't offer gimmicks, just quality products installed by our experienced craftsmen. We do offer 12 months, same as cash financing, though. That's not a gimmick. That's because we know how tough it is for some people right now to get these projects done. If you need roofing, siding, or windows and doors, call us for a free estimate today at 856-885-6677 or visit us at callemmons.com.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealEstate.com. This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. Did you know we are having a full one-day event on August 17th? It's called the Money Hacks event. You want to come to this event and you will learn how to become your own bank, how to invest in real estate without any money. You will learn the stock market and you will learn how to build credit for cash flowing assets and so much more. It's a full day packed with information. Use the code 1210, that's 1210, to get a 50% discount on the ticket. Go to 4mmw.com, that's 4mmw.com, and register today.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
On Philadelphia's Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Dom time. Now, Dom Giordano.
All right, it is Dom time. Boy, some of the stuff with this Governor Walz is just stunning that they would double down in this manner. So why not Josh Shapiro? What does it mean here in Pennsylvania also going forward to win Pennsylvania? Do they really think they can do that without him? Apparently. All right, we have Dom's Money Melody coming up, too. A real good one today from Dan. Be ready. I think it's Dan the Difficult today. We're always happy to bring a real powerhouse in Harrisburg, Senate President pro tempore Kim Ward, who has really clashed with Josh Shapiro, particularly over this sexual harassment thing that came up nationally here and other things. Senator Ward joins us in Philadelphia on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Senator, welcome back. Big day. What's your initial thought process about what's happened here?
Well, I wasn't that terribly surprised. I don't think it mattered if Josh Shapiro was on the ticket or not. I don't believe Kamala Harris can win Pennsylvania because of her extreme elitist views. When you look at, no fracking, well, that's one of the bases of our economy in many parts of the state. The immigration issue. She is just not where mainstream American families are, and I don't believe that she is with mainstream Pennsylvania families. And I think President Trump was going to win this state walking away.
Walking away. All right, now we'll have to bet a pizza on that. I trust your judgment. You've actually won office. I haven't run yet. I'm busy dodging golf balls. It's a long story. I won't bore you with here. But
I got hit by a golf ball.
I got hit by a golf ball on Sunday. It's a big brouhaha.
My God.
Senator, I think it's going to be really close, and that was my worry with Shapiro. He might be able to get it over the finish line. But let's talk about this Walz guy and this notion that this guy from Minnesota is going to come to rural Pennsylvania. Now, you have a really good handle on that. What is it that Trump did? I have my own theories, but you actually have lived it. You've been elected, and you're at the highest level here. What is it that Trump did in rural Pennsylvania that galvanized it and won in 2016?
Well, President Trump, when you look at his agenda and you look at the things that he stands for, he stands for energy, he stands for freedom. I know you listen to the Democrats who think he's going to take away your freedom and threaten your democracy, which we all know is a bunch of bullcrap. If anybody did it, they just did it with this presidential pick instead of letting the voters do it. But President Trump, I always found it fascinating that someone who has, very, very wealthy, plays in all the big leagues, he touched the people in rural Pennsylvania because he fights for things that are important to, I'm in suburban, but he fights for things that are important to us, which is our freedoms. The government basically needs to leave us alone and do their job, which is national security. And that's not what Kamala Harris stands for. And I love she could have picked the only guy that was to the left of her to be a running mate. He's not going to play here in Pennsylvania, but I believe J.D. Vance will clean up the floor with him here in Pennsylvania because he is very successful also, but he came from where many people are. He's the American dream.
And Senator, I think what Walz does is this. He wanted to even put fossil fuel people in jail. He's anti-fracking. It will not allow her to run away saying she's changed her mind on fracking, even though she publicly won't say it. She tries to put it out there. And I would guess you would agree that if out there in rural Pennsylvania, if people believe that they would take away fracking, fossil fuels, and all the rest, they don't need charts and graphs. They're going to vote against that.
Absolutely. Even Governor Shapiro's continuation of the Regional Green Gas House initiative that was signed into by Governor Wolf, and the courts have said Governor Wolf was not able to do that. He cannot tax people, only the legislature can. But Josh Shapiro is in court fighting it, even after he said that he was with us on our side. I think that was one of his biggest downfalls. He had plenty, but one of the biggest ones was he never took a stand on anything. He just stood in the middle of the road and tried to play both sides, and you get run over by both sides when that happens.
Now, do you think, he's a skilled politician, is the way I see him. He can pretend that he's going to help the Harris campaign, but given what's happened here, I think he's in the tanking mode. What do you think?
Well, I think that everything that he does and has done since he was ever elected is calculated.
Mm-hmm.
It's calculated to how does it help him. If you see, if you read, there is from the Philadelphia Magazine in 2021 when he told the reporter, and it was in the magazine, I'll do anything as long as it helps me on my timeline. I'll sign anything. as long as it helps me, makes me look good. And that's exactly what it said. So, I mean, somebody like that, he's going to be looking ahead, to your point, trying to figure out how he best gets back in the game here on the national level.
Yeah, and to your point, why you're very important in this too, personally, this whole thing with this former alleged Republican who was so important to him, he looked the other way apparently on major sexual harassment. You and he personally had a moment there as a female that you felt disrespected by the governor.
Well, when all I asked was, what took you so long? What took the administration so long to address the issue? And his response, instead of answering, which he still hasn't answered, was, well, consider the source when it comes to the pro tem. So, you know, I think women are the source. We are. We are all the source on that type of thing. And back to that sexual harassment issue, he still has one of the other secretaries who was involved with this, that was in the lawsuit, that took care of personnel. He's still sitting there. He's still sitting in the administration. He did not help the victim get out. He should have moved her out into a different department. Instead, he sat there with the other perpetrator and said, well, we think that, you know, your job performance isn't up to where it needs to be, after she had rebuffed him. So it's disgusting, but he's still sitting there. That secretary is still sitting in the administration. So I don't know if Shapiro is going to try to say, oh, I didn't know. I don't know how he can say that. I don't know how he could have ever said it, since the lawsuit was filed directly against the office of the governor.
Well, out of all this, I like what you're saying, where you are, though, and I trust your judgment politically. That's how you've risen to this level, that you think Trump will win Pennsylvania rather easily. That's all I need to hear, because whoever wins Pennsylvania is going to be president.
I agree. And I don't think the Democrats can win the presidency without Pennsylvania. I just don't see it. I mean, Kamala Harris's agenda is not, it is radical. I mean, it's radical. And Governor Walz is even more so, you know. He's going to arrest everybody for everything. That's not America.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for your great work, and to be continued anytime we're here. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day, and take care of that golf ball.
Thank you. Wait a minute, Dan. Obligatory each hour we have to show that. It's not getting worse. Where are the doctors out there?
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/@1210WPHT to check it out.
And these guys said, oh, what's the big deal? We weren't intending to hit. Can you imagine if they were intending, Dan?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get hit with a golf ball.
They weren't intending, sure.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She just said something about Walz. Let me see, because a lot of information coming in. I have hundreds of things in front of me about him. Dan, he apparently has this, he's like Governor Wolf with more of an edge. What she just said about arresting people, not the people burning down Minneapolis, if you remember, George Floyd's summer. But the bill that he signed around transgender, if the kid says, I'm transgendered, and the parents object, they would take the kid away, potentially, from the parent pretty easily in Minnesota. Also, there's a lot with this guy, 104 executive orders around COVID. We're parsing through them. That's 104. I think even Phil Murphy puts on a happier face on some of these things than this guy. And again, he's going to come here to rural Pennsylvania. So watch this. The big story today that the media, we played you a bunch of them, are selling. This guy represents every man out there in the Midwest, and that's good for America. Really? Is that what the media says there? Dan, we may do a side question on the Midwest. I'm not sure what, but big time TV, et cetera, they don't lionize the Midwest. Suddenly, that's the narrative today. This is where America is because Walz is there. And watch the other story. Pete Hegseth was the first one talking about it. Now the New York Post. This guy was going to rise in rank. He was in the National Guard, and suddenly he retired, leaving the National Guard that he trained to go off to Iraq. Now, this happened before with National Guard, George W. Bush, Dan Quayle. They suffered politically. I think that Dan Rather, the silver lining Dan, got kicked out of CBS ultimately. He went so wild trying to convict George W. Bush of being AWOL. If you can imagine, Dan, well before, I don't even know if you were doing talk radio at that point. This is back to, you weren't, no. This is back to, they were talking about the type of type that was used in a military order, and some guy found out that it was fictitious. That's how wild it was. So we're going to hear about Wall's National Guard service of saying, nah, I don't want to go to Iraq. Watch for this. All right, this is a huge gift. There's no way Harris plays in Pennsylvania. And by extension, if she says she's against fracking now, even though she didn't say it publicly, she has people telling the media that, how is it she chooses a guy who is the stone-cold enemy of all this? Why would that be the case? So it's not something you can say, I said that years ago, I've changed. You just pick the guy. You just pick the guy who might be as far left in his own way as you are, maybe even more. All right, phone lines are 855-839-1210. Today, Hiroshima commemoration. Next year, the 80th anniversary. Hit us with that film that you think did a great job with something that was a real-life event, like Oppenheimer or Sully or All the President's Men. Let's go to Dennis in Cherry Hill on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Dennis, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Don. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, my guess, well, not my guess, my statement today was the assault on Omaha Beach from Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, that is a great real-life event. And, Dennis, it's one of the few times where I could say it wasn't gratuitous when ABC left in the cursing. I think it was really appropriate. And usually I would err on the side, nah, you're just being gratuitous. Not with that. That was right on point.
No, I spoke to a number of the greatest generation and several who were actually there. Because I did 22 years in the Army myself. And, you know, every once in a while you come across these people and you hear their stories. And, I always thought, man, Iraq, Afghanistan, we had it easy compared to what they went through.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's staggering that was accomplished, that somehow or another they were able to do that. It just doesn't make sense given when you see Saving Private Ryan, what they were up against. Dennis, great one, and thank you for your service, too. Thank you, Dennis. All right, right now, though, coming up, Dan, I'm going to tell you about a big signing. The guy's been called a misogynist, a bigot, a national disgrace, yet your Kansas City Chiefs just signed him to a $27 million deal. We'll tell you who that is. Coming up, would the Eagles do that? Maybe. But first, it's time for...
It's Dom's Money Melody.
So the money gone.
That's exactly right. Today we're playing for a 4-pack of tickets to see the Reading Phillies versus the Erie Seawolves at First Energy Stadium in Reading, Pennsylvania, Sunday, September 8th. For tickets, visit readingphillies.com. And Dan, the difficult surfaces today, I think.
Yeah, it's well, it might be known by fans of the band that we're going to play back. So I don't know. But Dom, today we're playing a very famous song, and the side question today is name a film that's a good film that's based on a real life event. Where I found a good song that's based on a real life event. So I'm going to play a little bit of that song, very well-known song, so get ready to dial 855-839-1210. And you have to tell me what this real-life event this song was written about. So take a listen. We want to know the real-life event that this song was written about. Here you go. We all know the song, Dom. We want to know what real-life event this song is written about, Dom.
All right, 855-839-1210. For the record, I didn't know this one, but I stick to sports and film. I leave music to Dan. Big mistake. 855-839-1210. That's when we end up with Swedish language translations. What was this written about? You're off to see the Reading Phillies. Jump in right now with that on Talk Radio 1210.
Hey, it's Nick Cale. Join me Wednesday on WPHT's Veteran Spotlight. Every month, we shine a spotlight on one outstanding local veteran in partnership with the Travis Manion Foundation, celebrating their remarkable commitment to community service and their exceptional service in the military. This Wednesday, August 7th, we honor Air Force veteran Kathy Christian for her service and contributions to the veteran community. Presented by Window Nation. For all of your window and door needs, visit windownation.com.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
What happens when Washington liberals spend trillions of dollars? Just look around. Prices are way up. They pushed a bunch of reckless spending, and Senator Bob Casey voted for it. Now we're paying higher gas prices, higher grocery prices, and higher utility bills. Casey helped create this mess by voting with President Biden 98% of the time, including voting for trillions in wasteful spending. Instead of listening to the warnings, Senator Casey sided with the liberals, causing this inflation disaster. Casey voted to let illegals take your tax dollars. He voted to let illegals collect $500 million in COVID relief checks. It's more for illegals and less for us. Come on, Senator Casey. That's just not right. Call Senator Casey at 202-224-6324. Tell him to put Pennsylvania families first and fix his inflation disaster. Support S575, the Fight Inflation Through Balanced Budgets Act. Paid for by One Nation, onenationamerica.org.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
Vice President Kamala Harris picks Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. Mayor Parker says property taxes in the city are expected to rise starting next year. The Philadelphia School District is still looking to hire more teachers over the next few weeks.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Harry, if you watch any more of those stupid financial shows, I'm filing for divorce.
How am I going to keep up with our retirement accounts?
At JML Financial Group, we want you watching your grandkids playing soccer and sunsets in Hawaii, not the latest rumor of a market crash. Surprisingly, with proper income planning, the stock market shouldn't even be a concern. The money came in every 2 weeks while you worked. It should be the same in your retirement years. Let us show you how. Call JML Financial Group today at 856-925-6674. That's 856-925-6674. Or at jmlfinancialgroup.com. So, when your neighbor's sunbathing in the front yard,
Harry, you're an idiot. Get away from the window.
keep your eyes focused where they should be, on enjoying your retirement. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
It's Dom Money Melody.
Where has all the money gone?
Show me the money.
That's right. Today we want to know what this song is about. What are they referring to? Listen to the clue.
Great song.
Yeah. Anthem even of a sort. Let's go to Ken in Percy. Hey, Ken, good afternoon. What is that song about? What event?
I doubt I got this right, but I'll try it. Is it about Woodstock?
Yes, it was, Ken. Yeah.
The dumb fat, but
Nicely played, Ken. I'll put you on hold. You're off to see the Reading Phillies. It is about Woodstock.
Yeah,
a little
I think we
bit
dumped
more,
the
Dan.
answer there because of the curse word that was
Yeah.
said in excitement. Yeah, Ken, congratulations. Yeah, so Pete Townsend at one point said it's about the absolute desolation of teenagers at Woodstock where audience members were strung out on acid and 20 people had brain damage. The irony is that some listeners took the song to be a teenage celebration and anthem, Teenage Wasteland, yes, we're all wasted. Then Daltrey actually said in a recent interview, too, not only is it about Woodstock, but it can apply to generation after generation. The bridge, don't cry, don't raise your eye, it's only Teenage Wasteland. Very reminiscent of social media, he says. He says, main advice, give youngsters, beware of what you're getting into on social media because life is not looking down at screens, it's looking up. We're heading for catastrophe with the addiction that's going on in the younger generation, similar to what they saw at Woodstock. Your life will disappear if you are not careful. So, yep, the song written about Woodstock, but a great, great song, Dom.
Wow. Okay, I did not know that. So, perfect. Thank you, Ken. Good guess. Who is it that your Kansas City Chiefs just announced on Monday? They have signed kicker Harrison Butker to a new $25.6 million contract. I believe $17 million or so is guaranteed. That's a lot for a kicker. You know, even though we know the importance of kickers. So this is the hate-filled, in quotes, a guy who made that commentary that stirred people tremendously. So the Chiefs don't see it that way, and he's effective. I guess he's among the top 5 kickers out there. And I don't know if the Eagles kicker, I think, is better. I think he's got a bigger leg and all that. I don't think he gets paid that. So, Harrison Butker update of the day. Wanted to play you what David Axelrod said, and I've been waiting for this moment. Axelrod talked about, the Harris campaign giddiness. Yesterday, we started to hear people talking about the market Bidenomics, Harris being associated with that. Now, the market is come back today, not as much as yesterday down, but there's going to be events is the point, and the pick of this VP choice is a miss. What does it tell us about Harris and the people around her? When you have a Shapiro sitting there, you got to win Pennsylvania, and they won't go for it. I think you got to pick him almost at all costs, even if he's not a team player, whatever they're saying about that, even the progressive wing. Well, listen to the advice from Axelrod, what he predicts. What he predicts is going to happen with Harris. It'll be the normal course of events. I know people were getting demoralized and thinking, oh, my God, they're just going to roll through. She'll never take a question. She will get a bump from the convention. Everybody does from their convention usually. But aside from that, the warts, political warts, so to speak, are going to show up with Harris.
Are we talking cut 4 here?
Yes. Cut 4. Here's David Axelrod about irrational exuberance.
And look, she has a lot of momentum, but if you do look at the polling, this is still a really tight race. This is going to be a hard fight for either side, a tough, based on the numbers we're seeing right now.
100%. Look, I mean, anyone, there's a lot of irrational exuberance on the side of, on the Democratic side of the aisle right now because there was despair for some period of time about what the November was going to look like. Now people feel like there's a chance, but it is absolutely Trump's race to lose right now. He is ahead, and he is ahead most of the battleground states. They're close. They could be won by either candidate, but there's a lot to be determined in the next 90 whatever days, 96 or whatever it is left. I think it's a wide open race, but Trump has the advantage right now, and everybody should be sober about that on the Democratic side.
All right, so there's David Axelrod making the point, because the guy knows what he's talking about. He said this all along, and you know what this is about? This is also about her flaws as a candidate. She didn't launch even in 2020. She got there, DEI, all the things that we usually talk about. And this pick of Walz is exactly something that I think is damaging. I'm not buying that this guy's going to play in Pennsylvania, maybe Wisconsin, he's next door. But the things that, Dan, we played in the montage, I think the first one was better. Was it the COVID montage about him? Was that the first one was played?
We played a couple.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I mean, I want to play the COVID one because he signed 104 executive orders around this. Kim Ward made the point that this guy always wants to arrest people, but not criminals, but citizens around this. And he's got a disturbing record. He's Tom Wolfe during COVID with a lot more punishment and juice even. He is clearly against fossil fuels of all sorts, fracking, defund the police. the charge is out there that not only did he delay as Minnesota was burning, the mayor, who was very liberal, needed help. He called for the shutdown of that police station, let him have it. And he wanted more paperwork as the city was burning. And then his daughter, apparently online, was able to pinpoint where the National Guard was going to be deployed so that the looters would have a better chance. And he actually said, Dan, what people like Jesse Jackson have said to me, that, well, you got to understand, this is the natural outcome when you don't have equity and inclusion and all that stuff of people burning down that summer of George Floyd. The more George Floyd summer is in the news now, it does a lot of things. It brings up that Harris bailed people out. It takes away some of the media sting with January 6th of people bringing up, well, why were these people able to get away with this? And it reestablishes how far left both of them are. Here's a little bit.
Well, before you go there, I just also want to add on to the list of litany of coronavirus mistakes that this guy made. He also set up, similar to Montgomery County and Valerie Arcouche, a snitch line for the entire state.
There we go.
I actually have the call in if you want to hear it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Hello, you have reached the Department of Public Safety stay-at-home hotline. The information you leave is considered public information. At the tone, please leave the following information: your name, your callback number, how the stay-at-home order is being violated, and where the stay-at-home order was violated. Thank you.
Wow. All right, Valerie Arcouche with the snitch line. Minnesota nice. That's what Kim Ward meant about arresting people, going after people. 104 executive orders. Here's a little bit of this guy and his mentality during COVID.
I've just signed Executive Order 20-01, declaring a peacetime state of emergency for the state of Minnesota. We need to stop congregating. We're going to close the bars. We're going to close the restaurants. We're going to close the places where we gather. Several 100,000 of your neighbors were just laid off. An entire industry has been shut down in the face of this, all for the greater good.
The governor, with the power of the state constitution behind him, has issued 104 executive orders affecting everything from schools to restaurants and bars to churches to basically every facet of everyday life.
Democrats who control the House are moving in the opposite direction. Some are pushing to put a mask mandate in state law.
Hi ho the Dario, I wear a mask to school. It helps to keep me safe.
Explosive test.
Oh, God. Oh, man, this is such a gift. I know we're in the moment here, but there are several angles, and I'm telling you, this National Guard stuff is going to take away from any of the military bump they're hoping to get. What were they thinking? Well, they were thinking a couple of things. One, they're scared to death, no matter if the media tells you or not, of the fact that Shapiro's Jewish, the progressive wing, Israel, and all that. They're scared to death of him. So I don't care if the media says that's around the edges. The people that have to make a life and death decision on being president or not are telling you, no, they are rabid. That's why we did this. Two, they were afraid that Shapiro would upstage her. I told you, why would Josh Shapiro accept this? If they lose, he would look a lot better than her. He's got the leg up the next time. If he wins, he's vice president. Anything can happen. So, no, he wasn't reluctant to take this. He'd be a fool not to take it. They didn't want him. Watch the spin they put out there, though, which is going to be, that sexual harassment. Yeah, they probably looked at that. But they want to win Pennsylvania. You're going to hear, well, the VP really does. I'm so tired of hearing that. Why do we make such a big deal out of the VP then? Well, they're a step away from the presidency. Hey, grow up about this stuff. They're not picking people because they think, oh, this person will make a great president. They're picking a person because they want an edge. They do exactly what I do. They want to win. You got to win first. Why do we, this America is about winning, Dan. Why does everybody want to believe, well, they think this person fits their values and all that? They want to win. Trump picked Pence. Do those two guys seem like they're simpatico? No. Why did he pick them? It really juiced up the evangelical voters. That's why he did it. In a heartbeat, you would pick Shapiro here.
And especially here, I mean, for a VP, you're trying to distance yourself from what has been a failed Biden administration. So you're trying to bring in a new
capable.
mind. Yeah, capable.
Right. Yeah. Project that, etc.
Here's some leniency he gave during coronavirus that applies to you, Dom.
Letting people at this point in time mow their golf courses with social distance.
Say that. I love it. Hey, I wonder, I could vote for this guy, though. You know, what do you do if you get hit with a golf ball? Oh, that's on you. You shouldn't be. Okay, that's it.
You can mow your golf course with social distancing.
Yeah, with social distancing on the golf course. Oh, my God. Little petty tyrant. He likes ice fishing. He's going to come here, and these people in rural Pennsylvania. Here's the line, Dan, for people that are just listening, the 2 o'clock hour. Give us the line of what he said about socialism. I think it's cut.
One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Yeah. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. You know, he says we have to stand up for our progressive values. What are progressive values? One of the biggest this guy crawls with, dictatorial government. You know it, that's their big value. That's what they want. Pointy heads, experts. They know better. We still never have won on COVID. We never had a day of reckoning. And it's not just there with this guy. It's those little petty dictators out there in Bucks County, Diane Marsegli and people like that. Remember what they did. Schools were going to open. Dr. Damsker, right? They connived with Wolf, another little petty dictator, and they decided, no, we're not going to let you do that. How much damage did they do? But voters in Bucks County wanted to have abortions, so that's why they voted for them, apparently. Now, this guy's got, I just cannot believe, and Dan, I don't know about the Trump vetting. I'm suspect, maybe seat of the pants sort of stuff. The Harris people, I think, really went all out to vet. And they think that this guy's baggage is not baggage. They think America is going to be in sync. Why? He's from the Midwest. That's the narrative. He's Mr. Everyman from the Midwest. Wow. Whew. Chuck Todd, of all people, saying they picked another Joe Biden. No. Well, who knows? The guy looks pretty decrepit, but I don't think Joe Biden is as radical as this guy at the heart of it. You know, I was playing along with a lot of stuff, but this guy's the real deal. I like his golf course management, though. 855-839-1210. Give us your reaction. Big day here.
Letting people at this point in time mow their golf courses with social distance.
Oh, my God. 104 executive. I think behind the scenes, my instinct is the Trump people are saying, let's have a party here. Keep working, but let's have a party. Because this guy spills over and underlines what Harris is all about. And Liz Freed-Havey made a point. What about Jewish voters? I know they still feel, Democrat Party. What's the ADL say? I don't see them out there today. They have commentary on why Shapiro was not picked when he's clearly the choice. Phone lines, 855-839-1210. You get on board. Hey, while enjoying your summer, a reminder that this Friday coming up, football returns. It's preseason. Great reason to call your nearest Captain Chucky's. Get all the new wild shrimp scampi ravioli. Chucky's teaming up with Vera Pasta, offering lobster, crab, and now wild shrimp ravioli. And remember, order the brand new Bang Bang Jumbo Lump Crab Cake. The Bang Bang Crab Cake, Rose's favorite out of all the crab cakes. It's a delicious, creamy 5-ounce jumbo lump breaded crab cake with a kick. For those who like to spice it up with some heat. Perfect time, too, to check out all those other offerings. You know, Captain Chucky's has the stuffed mushrooms, salads, desserts, soup, sides, appetizers, and literally a crab cake for everybody. And everything is the highest quality ingredients. Their Gulf shrimp, huge hit. It's always wild caught, never farm raised. My favorite, those delicious Dom rolls. So visit Captain Chucky's today, location near you. Just go to WeLoveCrabCakes.com. WeLoveCrabCakes.com. If you're headed to the shore, then go to CaptainChucky'sAtTheShore.com.
Tonight, we can expect thunderstorms and some pretty heavy rain, too. Tomorrow, a high of only 76. More thunderstorms are possible, and more rain for Thursday and Friday. We'll start to warm up a little bit, though, on Friday and Saturday. Sunshine's back by Sunday.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. And with the Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Now through September 15th, purchase high-quality GAF with Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
See Joe Conklin's comedy show at Archbishop Wood High School in Warminster, PA, Saturday, September 28th. For tickets, go to JoeConklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-656-1551. That's 800-656-1551. 800-656-1551.
Weather sponsored by Budget Blinds.
Tonight, we can expect thunderstorms and some pretty heavy rain, too. Tomorrow, a high of
Summer's
only
a great time to
76.
brighten up the window treatments in your home. Budget Blinds is your one-stop shop for blinds, shades, shutters, custom drapery, and motorization. Visit budgetblinds.com for a free in-home consultation and the only no-questions-asked warranty in the business. Budgetblinds.com.
Broadcasting live from the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and on the free Odyssey app.
All right, Tom Giordano's show. Dan, on the plus side, Governor Walz was a defensive coordinator, high school coach. He ran a 4-4 defense. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said, I just had to follow the pulling guards. In high school, if you pull a guard, you pretty much know where the ball is going. If you can teach kids to do that, thank you for not allowing the yearbook to close on this chapter of my life in an interview with this. I'm sure he'll be coming here to talk Eagles football and defensive coordination. Wow. Socialism, just being a neighbor. All right, side question today. Honor of commemoration of the bombing of Hiroshima. Real-life event that a great film was made around. Dan, I'm not sure about this one, but after all, it is Joe of Exton on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Joe, good afternoon.
Yes, hello, Dom, and good afternoon.
The film Diary of Anne Frank is based upon actual events.
Not a biopic, Dan? Really?
No, because does it really tell her entire life story? Does it focus on her writings
events.
of, her being locked during the Holocaust? I think it's a good answer. I think it works, Joe.
Yeah, Joe, that is a very good answer. I mean, is it too extreme to say not exactly a book that would want to be read by significant segments of the Democrat Party? Yeah, I think so. After this pick and after October 7th and their stance on it, we don't want Anne Frank read in the schools. That's out of bounds. By the way, this guy Walz really brings the George Floyd summer into play here and exactly what happened and the repercussions. The ads should already be running, and it brings Harris bailing people out. You should know that the Ashley Babbitt $30 million wrongful death suit got its first hearing against the federal government on behalf of the January 6th victim, Ashley Babbitt. Washington Federal Court, Judicial Watch is involved in that hearing. Well, it's today. It's today that the hearing starts. So, it mutes a bit January 6th that this guy wanted more paperwork as cities were burning in the George Floyd summer and abandoned that third precinct that was under his order. The mayor was a progressive, liberal at least, asking for the National Guard. And then today there are stories that somehow or another it was leaked to his daughter, the governor's daughter, who put it up online, and looters were able to know better where the National Guard was deployed. Dan, you know what I remember most about that period of time here? These ungodly union employees of the libraries of Philadelphia went nuts because we had the National Guard over in West Oak Lane, right on the border with Cheltenham. There's a big shop, Wadsworth Shopping Center, all through there. And there was an abandoned library, library they weren't using. They allowed the National Guard, in full uniform, it was hot, to have their weapons, because they have their weapons, and to rest a bit, get a cold drink in there. They went nuts against that. It was amazing.
Don't mean to take you on a detour from where you currently are, but I just found some great audio of the situation involving Tim Walz and his service record.
Okay, Now, set this up again. Pete Hegseth, who we're trying to get on, is from Minnesota. He brought up on Fox today, he was the first one, now the New York Post, that Walz, they're touting as military service. We always honor that, National Guard. But when his group was being sent to Iraq, suddenly he retired. He was a sergeant major, too, and they were going to advance him in rank because they were actually going into combat. He said no mas.
Yeah.
Here's a little bit on
that.
that.
Back in 2022, Alpha News Minnesota, which bills itself as a Minnesota media outlet focusing on politics and social issues you may not see in traditional media, did an expose on Walz and his service and spoke with a gentleman by the name of Tom Behrens. And this is what Behrens had to say about the whole situation.
The public needs to know how pathetic his leadership was as a National Guardsman.
On a 150-year-old farm in Brewster, Tom Behrens hopes his tell-it-like-it-is style will finally get the attention he believes it deserves in Minnesota's race for governor. In a way, he's back again to wage a public war of words against Tim Walz.
He abandoned us, what the hell kind of leader does that? As soon as the shots were fired in Iraq, he turned and ran the other way and hung his hat up and quit.
We'll get to Behrens' new message for voters in a moment. But this all starts years earlier when Behrens says Walz's misleading statements about his military service first led him to come forward in the fall of 2018.
So you try to get this message out, but Minnesota's largest newspaper checks it out, says it's 100% true, but yet refuses to print it.
When I hung the phone up, I said, what the hell is this, North Korea?
Back in 2005, a warning order went out to the 1st Battalion, 125th Field Artillery to mobilize for a mission to Iraq. At the time, Walz served as the unit's highest non-commissioned officer, but months later, Walz would retire from the Guard, avoid the deployment, and run for Congress. Tom Behrens was next in line for the position and was asked to take his place.
I was like, well, for Pete's sake, if this guy quit, If I say I'm not going to do it, I mean, what the hell kind of leadership is that? If a company would say that we're going to deploy to Iraq or somewhere and you're going to be gone for whatever amount of time, and then the foreman just says, no, I'm not going. I mean, what does that say to the 500 people that work in that factory?
Behrens would go on to serve in Iraq on a nearly 2-year deployment as a command sergeant major. Allwell Walls began using that title as a congressman. Behrens says he first contacted Walls.
All right, so yeah, again, when this happened with Dan Quayle and it happened with George W. Bush, both of them, firestorm. Let's see if the media asks Walls about this stuff when he's not busy ice fishing. 855-839-1210. Pat in Lehigh Valley is on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Pat, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hey, you got a lot going on there. It's great stuff. Thank you.
Thank you,
really
Pat, very much.
It.
Well, you know, tip of the hat to Dan, too, bird dogging this, and we pride ourselves, and DJ out there looking, too. You're not hearing this in the rest of the media, maybe.
Well, it's going to come out sooner or later. It's black and white. Yeah, hey, you either did or you didn't. You know, I mean, like, so that it's not.
Right, and Pat, the point is we have institutional memory. We know that George W. Bush had to answer for it. That's how Dan Rather lost his job ultimately. And we know that Quayle had to answer for it. I think George W. Bush was correct. Quayle had a lot of trouble with it, and I think Walls does too.
Well, I hope so. I just, he's not any country boy. You can talk a country boy, but
yeah,
it's a joke.
What's your film,
And
Pat?
not in Pennsylvania either, by the way.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like, I think we're smarter than that.
We will think that too. Pat, what's your film?
Okay, my film is The Alamo, going back years, because everybody saw it. Hey, Oppenheimer is newer,
right?
But how many people can afford to go to movies these days?
All right, the Alamo. Yeah, if you go there, Ro and I went, the Riverwalk, San Antonio, you'll really enjoy it. You'll see, was not that big. How did they hold out? All right, lightning round is next here on Talk Radio 1210.
Hey everyone, it's Donald Trump Jr. Join me and Dom Giordano Thursday, September 12th at the Scottish Rite Auditorium in Collingswood, New Jersey for the next Politics and Pints with WPHT. We will talk all things Trump, the 2024 election, and my father's book, Letters to Trump. South Jersey and PA suburbs are hugely important to electing Donald Trump president. Just head to 1210WPHT.com for tickets right now. Hope to see you there.
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me. 40 days up to 40 pounds. Shed that summer vacation weight by reaching out to NJ Diet. You will lose a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days and without any shots. NJ Diet is all natural. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone so you can finally lose that weight. Then, NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. Best of all, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you are burning fat and not just losing water. You even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. Locations in Newark, Delaware, King of Prussia, and Cherry Hill, or available worldwide with live online video consultations. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or schedule your consultation today by going to njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com. 40 days up to 40 pounds. 40 days up to 40 pounds.
With so much uncertainty in the world today, you may find yourself wondering, is now even the right time to retire?
And so many people are waiting, and those folks are going to be waiting a really long time, I hate to say, because there's no perfect time. The market is always unpredictable and volatile.
Fortunately, Jim Cipriotti has been helping get people to, through, and beyond retirement for over 25 years. And each week, he wants to help give you that freedom to retire. Listen to Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This summer, excitement starts behind the wheel of an all-electric BMW. Experience the BMW i4. That's confident, quick, and unmistakably BMW. Or feel the thrill of the electric BMW iX with its elevated design and unrelenting performance. This season's excitement starts at the electric BMW Summer Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate electric driving machine.
Visit B&W of Westchester on Route 202 for a personalized test drive today.
There's only one place to get that perfect custom gift for your special someone. Cozy Jewelers' family-owned and operated showroom in Newtown Square. See their 5 C's in person. That's color, cut, clarity, carat, and of course, the cozy touch. If you have something unique in mind, Cozy will help you customize your piece with all work done in-house, so you always walk away with that unparalleled cozy quality. For your custom jewelry, stop by Cozy Jewelers in Newtown Square or online at CozyJewelers.com and step up to the 5th C.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Yo, Roy is Ford. We know your favorite station is 1210 WPHT.
The time has come for the final test.
We usually call it the lightning round.
That's right, and the lightning round sponsored by Cherry Hill Volvo. Right now, lease the incredibly stylish and fun to drive C40 for 36 months for less than $500 per month for qualified buyers. They always go the extra mile for their customers at Cherry Hill Volvo. All right, the Earl of Tacony. Earl, what's yours today?
First off, with Walls, you said they picked him because of his Midwest sensibilities. You know, like Ed Gein, the butcher of Plainsfield, who dug up corpses and made a suit out of women, which was the inspiration for Buffalo Bill and Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, well, let's not get to that. Trump will be bringing up Hannibal Lecter again.
But my answer, and I always bring this up and I never win with it. Let me try again.
Yes.
Dr. Zhivago.
Okay.
It's like Titanic. If you ignore the love story, it's a story of a man who becomes successful, has a wife and family, has a nice home, goes off to war, comes back, and the leftists take over. They move families into his house against his will. They steal his personal belongings, rename streets, tear down statues. If you watch the film this weekend and just pay attention, it's everything that's happening today in America.
Gotcha, Earl. The Zhivago again.
Yeah.
Leslie
Stretch.
Fishabine, who's been very active on Twitter today. Leslie, what's your film?
Can I make a comment on Walt?
Sure.
So last night I was doing some reading on him, and I'm like, this guy's resume blows Shapiro's away. And it's just for the fact that he's been in office longer than Shapiro. So I wasn't that surprised to hear that he was the pick today. But it's kind of like happy, not happy. Happy, yes, I feel like this is a total anti-republic ticket. But, God, if it wins, it really is the end for America.
Well, I hear you, but you know what? When you go that far, you're not going to win. That's what I'm sticking to. Leslie, what's your film?
Well, I had something, but I changed my mind, and I'm going to go with Dunkirk. And there's nothing like the people coming together to save their own people.
Gotcha. Dunkirk, Dan, is the Apollo 13 of war films. Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Failed, but tremendously. That it succeeded in getting out of it. All right, Dan, got any contenders?
I think there's one that stands out today, Dom, and it's not Dunkirk, but very similar. It's Dennis and Cherry Hill, who's an Afghan veteran who called in saying, after watching Saving Private Ryan and the storming of Normandy, just the thoughts that went through his brain of how hard these guys in the Greatest Generation had it. So I think Dennis and Cherry Hill is the rightful deserved winner of today.
I couldn't agree more. We'll put that into the hat. More tomorrow. Great guest and more on This Guy Walls. Oh, my goodness. Rich C. always next. 4 big hours to deconstruct this. It's Christmas, I tell you. Christmas. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
We should do what my brother did. He went to GetCash.com and got $3,000.
With our bad credit?
GetCash.com is different. They're one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope. My brother said it was fast and easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan of up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account as soon as the next day. Our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to GetCash.